in house.
And welcome to the broadcast. Glad you are with us on this Tuesday night, July 7th, 2026. We are back. Did you miss us? I hope you did. Well, we were very busy. If you caught the 1 o'clock show today, we were very busy on our 6 days off. We didn't really take a break, folks. We worked. And in fact, let me show you. Looky. Revelation, this is volume 1. Now you say, well, you've shown us this before. No, I have not shown you this before, because this is the book that's laid out. These are all the pages that have been laid out, and now they're ready to go. Well, they have gone to the printer, and the printers looked at it, and their experts have said it's print ready. We don't see any issues. Logan laid all of this out. We looked to hire a company, and the guy's like, that's too big of a project for me, because there's 3 books. This is just volume 1. He finished volume 1. Are you about done with volume 2? Are you done? Just about. So I'm going to get another one of these printed, and then he'll go to work on volume 3. When do you think volume 3 will be done?
Hopefully by Thursday or Friday.
Awesome. So this is all the layout. So you can write a book. You can have it in a Word document or pages or whatever, but that's not going to be the final page layout for a printer or for a professional print job. It's going to look like this, with your subheadlines and the right point and the right spacing and the right margins. And this is for a book that's 7 by 10, right, Logan?
Yep.
So Logan said, Logan, I can pay. Some guy wanted $9,000 to lay it out. Someone else wanted $10,000 to lay out the 3 books as volume 1. I mean, it's a lot of work. I get it. Someone said I can start in August. No. Someone said I can start next year in January. No. So I said, Logan, how about, you're a smart kid. Why don't you learn how to lay this book out? Because I got a lot of books coming. So I'd rather pay you than pay these people. And I bet you could do it for me and at a reasonable price. And you can make some reasonable extra money and get it done quickly. He said, okay. So he spent 2 days learning various pieces of software, right, Logan? And so he laid it out, volume 1. There it is. So we printed it out at an office supply store today because I wanted to keep reading over it a little bit. But that's done. And I got the email last week from the printer up in Minneapolis saying it's print ready. It's ready to go, volume 1. So that's volume 1, chapters 1 through 18. And now he's almost finished laying out volume 2. Then he'll go to work on volume 3, as you heard, be finished before the week is over. That'll go to the printer. And then we got about 5 to 6 weeks from there. And then we will be shipped books to us. So there you go. We worked a lot over the holiday. Now we have another big announcement. Are you ready? We announced it at 1 o'clock today. By the way, we're going to have on tonight J.B. Hixson in just a moment. J.B. Hixson's going to come on. We're going to talk about President Trump in Turkey, praising the leader of Turkey, Erdogan, over and over. I guess we're going to give them F-35s. We're going to arm them up. This is not going over well with Benjamin Netanyahu. Apparently, we, America, are going to arm up the enemy of Israel, the guy Erdogan, who says he wants to have a new revived Ottoman Empire, and he wants to conquer Jerusalem, and we're going to give him weapons. And yet we know that, I think it's like 3 times Turkey is mentioned in Ezekiel 38 and 39, the Gog-Magog war. So apparently America, your tax dollars, my tax dollars are going to arm Turkey, who's going to be directly involved, according to the Bible, in an invasion and attack against Israel. Now, do you call that blessing, being a blessing per Genesis 12, verse 3, or a curse? And I think we're inviting God's judgment as a nation. We have been, but the tipping point is increasing. Going to get into that with J.B. Hixson tonight. Then I want to talk to Michael Weiner. I've made a lot of PowerPoint slides over the holiday. See, I told you I was working a lot during the holiday. I made some PowerPoint slides on really how the system works. And most Americans, and you heard a little bit of it in my commentary tonight in the Worldview Report, most Americans don't know how the system works. And you don't really own your stocks and assets and various financial instruments. You may be the one that claims on the books to be the owner, but you don't have the last right of ownership on it. And when you have a system crisis, you may have a hard time getting to those assets to liquidate or have funds transferred or to sell. I want to get into that. I want to share these PowerPoint slides I made, very good graphics. I made over the weekend during the break, trying to explain what's coming. I want to ask Michael Weiner what he thinks about that. Okay. Then Melissa is going to join us in studio. She has not been in studio for some time. She's going to join me in studio tonight with Dr. Lana. She has some big news, Melissa does, about something she's been doing now for 4 months. I want you to hear her talk about that tonight. All right. Big night. Okay. Now back to where we were. What else did we do while we were on break before we go to JB Hixson? Well, folks, we finished up what we said was coming, and that is the Christian Worldview Leadership Training Program. Announced it at 1 o'clock today, and we've already got a couple students, don't we, Logan? And we just launched it. This is for you to go through our 2-year course. Now, some of you may finish it faster than 2 years. Some of you may have the time to put more in than others. So you may finish it faster than 2 years, but we're not trying to burn people out. We realize most people have jobs and responsibilities, and most people can't be a full-time student. But some of you, you're going to go faster than 2 years. But now you can take our course, and you're going to go through this course at $99 a month. If you want to pay for it all at one crack, you'll save about $400. But you can go through the course, and you're going to take our course online, watch a video and fill out a worksheet. And it's everything from grave influence, put your beliefs to the test, understanding Christian Zionism from the Bible, twisted scripture, twisted theology. You're going to learn about Hamas and Islam, 7 signs of the time, the coming religious right, transhumanism is eugenics, the new age is not so new. These are just some of the courses. And you're going to end up with speakers that we have filmed over the years, who, by the way, when they started working with us, filmed releases. Well, I had them fill out a form and sign a form that we're filming you, and we can take it and turn it into multiple things in the future. And here we are. Since 2004, we have been filming our national conferences, and we have broadcast quality, multi-camera productions of people that will be some of the teachers in this, including Dr. Henry Morris III, David Noble, Josh McDowell, Norm Geisler, Erwin Lutzer, John Ankerberg, of course, Jimmy DeYoung, Andy Woods, Usama Dakdok, Sharam Hadian, Jason Carlson, Jared Carlson, Ron Carlson. The list goes on and on. I mean, think about that. To have the caliber of these kind of people teaching you on their areas of expertise so that you can understand the Bible and have command of how to talk about and teach and apply a biblical worldview. We're very excited about this, folks. I even developed the logo. I built the logo over the weekend. You like this logo? It's the world, obviously, on a Bible. It's the world on a Bible. So we got a beautiful logo, and you're ready to go now. You can enroll, start it right away. And when you're done, you're going to get access to download onto your computer tons and tons of professionally produced PowerPoints, whether it's my Revelation commentary, all my PowerPoints for teaching Revelation, 53 lessons, or my PowerPoints for Daniel, or my PowerPoints for grave influence, or put your beliefs to the test. You're not only going to get a beautiful diploma, and you're going to get the diploma in the mail, because it's not something we want you to print out. It's something we want to mail you because it's that high quality, that beautiful, so you can frame it and put it on a wall. But you're not only going to get this beautiful diploma, you're going to get to download all of these PowerPoint presentations. So we're resourcing you to not only say, hey, this is someone who's gone through the course that we believe has now done the necessary study to understand a biblical worldview, the Bible prophecy, but we've now resourced them with PowerPoint, leaders' notes, student worksheets to turn around and teach it. And you know what I'm really hoping? That some of you will start a Bible study, that some of you will start a home church. Start it in your home. 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. Do you know that I talked to Dr. Woods today? Do you know that when he became the pastor of the church he's the pastor at in Sugar Land, Texas, there was only 30 people going to that church? Only 30 people. And through his faithful teaching of the Bible, guess what? That church now seats about 300, and it's full a lot of the times. Consistently 200 to 300 people attending. Not too many years ago, 10 years ago, 30 people. That you could put in your home, about 30 people, a lot of you. 15, 20, 30 people. Maybe you could start a home church. You know, we have a lot of people that complain, and rightfully so. They can't find good Bible teachers that will talk about biblical creation, Bible prophecy, the issues of the day, and bring the Bible to bear on these issues of the day. So guess what, folks? You need to become a teacher, an instructor, whether it's a Bible teacher or whether you want to start a home church and shepherd people. Please do not think that you have to go off to some seminary for years and years and years and spend a ton of money to be a shepherd. A shepherd is simply an overseer, one who oversees and spiritually equips and encourages and edifies people, uses their spiritual gifts for the edification of the saints. You can shepherd people. Many of you are already shepherding people and discipling people. Now we're giving you the opportunity to go through a training program, as I said, with well-known teachers like Dr. Henry Morris, Josh McDowell, Norm Geisler, Erwin Lutzer, myself, Dr. Woods, and so many others. And at the end of this, have the ability to download tons of PowerPoint, tons of lessons. I think you're talking about several years worth of lessons here. I mean, my Revelation series is 53 lessons. That every week would take you a year to go through, obviously. And that's if you are meeting every week. Some weeks you're not going to meet because of Christmas or whatever it might be, where you don't meet that week. Maybe you don't meet. Maybe you do. And if so, it'll take you a year to go through Revelation. But then consider Daniel and put your beliefs to the test and all these other courses. So we're not only, again, teaching you and equipping you and training you, we're resourcing you. It's not just like, oh, great, good job, glad you did the coursework. Now, hope it works out. No, we're giving you everything you need to be a successful Bible teacher, biblical worldview teacher. So we're very excited about this. We've already got, since we launched it at 1 o'clock today, a couple people that have already signed up. Please spread the word. Will you tweet, text, email, Facebook, Getter, Truth Social? Will you spread the word? Will you spread the word about this new worldview leadership course? Basically, what we're talking about here is our own Bible college, our own Bible Institute online. So worldviewtube.com/leadership, worldviewtube.com/leadership. We're very excited about it. I hope you are as well. We look forward to telling you more about the people that are taking the course, getting enrolled. And, you know, pretty soon we might actually list the city and state that some of our graduates live in. And if some of them start a home Bible study, we could actually start where we're listing. Here's some of our graduates, where they live, and they've started a home church. So I hope you're as excited as we are. Now, I wanted to launch tonight and tell you that Brainwashed America Part 3 was done tonight, but we've decided it needs just a little more tweaking. And then tomorrow night, I shall be announcing and playing some short clips of Brainwashed America Part 3. There's going to be 4 parts, so obviously we have one more part to go. And we're going to be launching tomorrow night into the vault for vault members, the 2-hour Part 3 of Brainwashed America. Okay? So again, we'll look forward to announcing that. So we were very busy over the break, got a lot done. So thank you for allowing me to take a few days off, but we're glad you're back. All right. We also need, of course, your support to keep it going. I had to pay, how much did we just have to pay today, Logan?
11.
11 what? 11 tacos, 11 pennies?
$11,000.
$11,000. And what did I or us, all of us listening, since we're a listener-supported network, what did we just have to pay for $11,000?
Our scheduling software.
What does that mean?
It is for programming the network.
So when the network runs 24/7, 365, you have to have software that schedules all that.
Correct.
And that costs $11,000 every year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. How much do I pay for some of this other stuff every year?
I would have to get up in front of me. The
What
graphics are like, I think 9.
9,000?
I think so.
Just to do all the graphics we do.
Yeah.
In the lower third, they're seeing right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And my streaming bills, what are my streaming bills now a month?
That I do not know. I know what the one was because of what we were running through it, but I don't know what they are monthly.
Well, the last I saw between the 3 companies, it's like over 10 grand. That sound about right to you?
I think so.
And that's those three companies. I won't name them because I don't want people going after those companies. But three companies that we have to run everything through for storage and bandwidth. And that's about 10 grand a month on those. So we just had to pay $11,000 today for programming software, scheduling software. So here's the point, folks. We're listener supported. We need your support. We're down $11,000 today in one day. So we need your support. Here's great ways to support us and your health. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Numi, Gatatana, Bella Grace, Worldview Talk, your satellite phones, your solar generators. There's the Gatatana. melissaprotein.com. Our water filters, we sell a ton of these water filters. I have one under my kitchen sink. I have one on my shower. All of these great sponsors, folks. I hope you'll check them out. We need your support. And, of course, another great way to support us is through our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. I do hope you'll consider legacy giving. Somebody called today wanting to leave us in their estate planning. We have several families that have done that. Thank you. I hope you'll do that. Folks, we've stayed the course now. 36 years we've been doing this. So please consider being involved in legacy giving. Yes, the gifts to us, our foundation, are indeed tax deductible. All of this is explained, the IRS rules and regulations. All of that is explained at worldviewfoundation.com. Just go there and scroll down on legacy giving and then on us, how it is that we're nonprofit. And of course, the three ways you can give: credit card, PayPal, or actually four ways: mail or phone. There you go. All right. Worldviewfoundation.com. Let's get started. Joining me now is JB Hixson. Let's talk some Turkey here. President Trump in Turkey with the NATO leaders. And apparently now we are going to give them, America, Turkey, F-35s. I asked a question today on radio. Have you ever known of a Republican president to give so much credibility and stature to Islamic leaders as President Trump? I don't like asking that question. I'm shocked, frankly, that I even have to ask it. This is not the president we saw in 2016 in his first term. So I'm going to ask again. Can you name one Republican president that has ever given such credibility and stature to the Islamic leaders of the Middle East, like Giuliani, who had a multi-million-dollar bounty on his head from America, a jihadist, who now he calls a good guy? A good-looking guy, a strong leader, saying the same thing about Erdogan, and that our personalities click, and lifting sanctions, as Erdogan is talking about taking Jerusalem, conquering Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Talk about this, JB, being a Genesis 12, verse 3. I'll bless those who bless you. I'll curse those who curse you. Wowee. JB Hixson joins me now. JB, what do you make of this? Do you know of any Republican president ever in world history to give so much credibility to Islamic leaders as Donald Trump has done?
It's really a head scratcher, to be sure. Certainly not in my memory. I mean, obviously, Republicans are not perfect, and if we dug deep, we could probably find pretty significant times in American history when they've disappointed us. But this is a big one. I mean, going back to the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, Erdogan has signaled in every possible way that he is no real friend of NATO and he's no real friend of America, especially. And we know going way back to his time when he was the mayor of I think it's whatever the town there. Budapest, I think. But anyway, whatever he was mayor before he became president, he famously said, I've quoted this often, probably quoted it on your show before. He said, democracy is like a tram. You ride it till you get to your destination and then you jump off. I mean, that's pretty significant. In other words, he doesn't see democracy as a fundamental, inalienable right or the best form of government. He sees it as a means to an end, and his end is not the same as what America's end is, that's for sure. So, yeah, I mean, Donald Trump has really done a lot of things recently, from calling at one point the Iranian regime, every possible name you can think of in terms of its dangers and its threats to Israel and to freedom-loving people. Now they're considered rational, and he's providing $300 billion for them indirectly. You don't think that money is going to be used against Israel somehow, some way? Of course it will. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, but like you, it's hard not to get really animated about it. I think, I just have to take a breath and just wait and pray that the Lord protects Israel, because, I did a podcast, a 90-minute podcast recently with Mondo Gonzalez critiquing Tucker Carlson and J.D. Hall's attack on dispensationalism. And we were gracious, of course, but there's so much out there right now, Brandon, I don't have to tell you, from mainstream major social media influencers that is coming against Israel. The last thing we need in the midst of this sort of temperament is to have our nation's president, a Republican no less, sort of adding fuel to the fire. That's how I see it.
Well, it's not going over well with Benjamin Netanyahu. I played this today at 1 o'clock, but it bears playing again with you tonight. Listen to what the president of Israel has said about this.
The thing I'd like to say, because we're on the verge of the president's going to Turkey, look, Turkey is a great country, but it's governed by a man who calls openly for the annihilation of Israel. He occupies half of Cyprus, a NATO country. He's threatening Greece, another NATO country, and he talks openly about conquering Jerusalem. His foreign minister, his number two, said that the Jewish state hasn't a place among humanity. Basically, it has to be wiped out. His interior minister, said he looks forward to be the governor of Jerusalem. Well, for a regime infected by the Muslim Brotherhood, an extreme movement that hates America and chants death to America from that side of the spectrum, I don't think they should be given F-35s or the engines for their fighter jets, because that'll upset the power balance in the Middle East, which is ultimately guaranteed by Israeli air superiority and also by, I think, by America's posture in the Middle East.
And correction, that's not the president of Israel. That is the prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. Talk about Genesis 12, verse 3. I'll bless those who bless you. I'll curse those who curse you. Again, not that we agree with everything the government of Israel does, but we certainly believe in their biblical and historical right to live in the land, on the land. And part of that word curse, as we've defined it from the original before, is that you don't push them down. You don't come against them in a way that seeks to belittle them, stop them from advancing, stop them from moving forward. If you want to talk about how do you curse a nation, well, give F-35s to Turkey that's talked about taking over Jerusalem. Praise the leader of Syria, Jalani, who's a jihadist. Praise Qatar, who's one of the biggest funders of terrorism around the world. Take a plane from them and fly around on it. Praise Pakistan, loaded up with Islamists. Praise the leaders, as you said, of Iran, that now the guys in power are sensible people. Every time he does this, he's cursing. Not only that, the man has literally, we're told by his own admission, cursed out Benjamin Netanyahu, dropped the F-bomb on him. Here we are days from celebrating our 250th anniversary as a nation. Ronald Reagan famously said, the nation that forgets we're one nation under God will be one nation gone under. Okay? We have forgotten what God has said. You have divided my land, Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I'm angry at you. You've divided my land. What are we doing? We're dividing Gaza and saying we're going to run Gaza. We're going to control Gaza. We're telling them you can't build in Judea and Samaria. We're going to control you and control that. We're going to tell you when you can't defend yourself. We're dividing Israel. We're dividing their land. We're cursing them, figuratively and literally. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think for understanding Genesis 12:3, you have to go back to the nuances between biblical Zionism and political Zionism. As biblicists, we are biblical Zionists. We believe in the promises of God that are unconditional, irrevocable. God has a future for national Israel. There's going to come a time when Israel as a nation is going to repent and look on him whom they pierced, and they're going to be regathered into the land. And the kingdom age all culminates in a glorious kingdom of righteousness, justice, peace, with Jesus Christ on the throne in the temple in Jerusalem, as Ezekiel talks about. And that's where this is all heading. So when people attack Israel, they're attacking the promises of God. Now, obviously, because we're biblical Zionists, we also have a keen eye and ear for political Zionism. We were excited prophetically when the modern Zionist movement began in the late 19th century, and people like Theodore Herzl suggested, among many other places, giving Israel a homeland once again in places like Uganda and so forth. And as things progressed, and you go through World War I and World War II, and then eventually, lo and behold, in 1948, Israel is back on the maps again in the Holy Land where God had promised them they should be. So, but as you so rightly pointed out, Brandon, that does not mean that we agree with everything modern Israel does. They certainly are there in unbelief, and they are a secular leadership, and it's fair to constructively criticize them when they step out of line. But this notion of aligning ourselves with nations that, by their own admission, want to obliterate Israel, which would certainly fly in the face of God's prophecies, is just unconscionable. You know, the anonymous psalmist in Psalm 33 said, quote, in verse 10, "The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations." And then listen, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance." And we certainly know the fingerprints of God are all over the founding of this country. There's more to it than just that, but no question, you see the move of God from the very beginnings of this country through the ages. And yet now, today, as we are witnessing before our very eyes, we are turning from the Lord at every possibility, with embracing abortion, embracing the LGBTQ perversion, hosting bloodlust, blood sport fights on the White House lawn, and now, if you can imagine it, turning against Israel and aligning ourselves with some of Israel's greatest enemies. And so, yeah, I don't understand it. I almost wonder, and I'm just speculating here, but it's fair to ask the question, is somehow our president being controlled? I mean, I just can't imagine him arriving at this posture on his own.
Well, to all those who say that Trump is the lapdog of Benjamin Netanyahu, clearly not. Clearly not. So, I mean, where are all those people today claiming, right, we're controlled by Israel, that Trump is on a leash, held by Netanyahu? I mean, it's absolutely not true at all. If anything, President Trump, I think, has been controlling Netanyahu, telling him what he can and cannot do. And President Trump has said on his own, we're over there doing what we're doing because it was our choice to do it. So he's very, very adamant about that himself. So again, another false narrative by the anti-Semites is not bearing out in reality and in public policy or geopolitics. Here again, I played it today, but it bears getting a response from you. President Trump's going to lift the sanctions on Turkey.
Sir, you said, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that President Erdogan was a big reason you wanted to come to the summit here. What has made your relationship with him so special, in your own words, and what do you broadly hope to achieve here at the summit?
You never know why a relationship is special. Some people you get along with, and some people you don't. Sometimes you get along with the toughest people, like him, and sometimes you don't get along with the weakest, most pathetic. You just don't get along. Maybe you don't respect them. But from the day we met, we got along. We had a pastor, as I remember, his name was Pastor Brunson, and it was a very big thing, and it was very traumatic. It was sentenced to a long-term prison sentence, and I felt he was innocent, and I called. Other people called. They got nowhere. I called the president, and he released him immediately. was something that the evangelical community will never forget. Because he was a good man, Pastor Brunson. So, just things like that, we just have always, it's always worked out. And I think it's been from the very beginning, from the first moment. This just, I said it before, it's a chemistry that works between us. There are those that I don't have a good chemistry with, I will tell you that. And we worked that out too.
So he has a good chemistry with this guy, despite all the things this man, Erdogan, has said. Just, again, propping this guy up.
Yeah, he really is. And by the way, it was.
And by the way, let me interrupt you real quick there before you comment. Remember, was it 3 times Turkey's mentioned in Ezekiel coming against Israel? So he's propping up and arming the guy the Bible says is going to, and maybe not him when he's there, maybe he won't be the one in power, but he's propping up and arming the country that's going to come against Israel. How is that not cursing Israel?
Yeah, it's prophetically significant at the very least, and it could be sort of an imminent indication of an imminent fulfillment. But so I was talking about when Erdogan was mayor, it was Istanbul, not Budapest. Obviously, Budapest is not in Turkey. You'll have to forgive me. I was public schooled, so I had a brain freeze there for a moment. But Istanbul was what I was talking about. But yeah, it's it's just hard to. I mean, it was bad enough back in the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war when we were aligning ourselves and funding Ukraine, and sort of they were the good guys and Russia was the bad guy, and yet Turkey, a member of NATO, was doing the same thing for Russia. And to me, it was unconscionable then, and I just couldn't understand it. Why didn't we have a strong leader who would kick Turkey out of NATO or hold them accountable? And now, this is what comes of letting these guys with their evil agenda, and you've documented well Erdogan's history and his agenda, go unchecked. And so here they are now being funded, given military supplies, and we know what their end game is. They want to get rid of Israel. So absolutely, back to Genesis 12:3. I mean, I think in many ways that passage is often too broadly applied, as if the modern state of Israel has carte blanche to do whatever they want and can never be held accountable. But if there ever was a moment to apply the principle of that unconditional promise, it's now. You just don't fund Israel's enemies, and you just don't do it. I think God's hand of blessing is being removed from this country.
And isn't that interesting that this is happening just days from celebrating our 250th anniversary as a nation? There you go. Here's a
Zionism.
you're going to have to read it, folks. But here is Erdogan talking about the Zionists. You'll have to read the subtitles. Here we go. Or maybe I'll mute him and read them to you for those of you driving. The genocidal, occupying, expansionist ideology called Zionism threatens not only me personally, our party, or our allies, but everyone, says Erdogan. When we struggle against Zionism, we do so not for ourselves personally. We do this for the collective survival of ourselves and of our nation. There you go. So make no mistake, he's against you, me, anyone that's a Zionist, believe they have a historical right to the land, and anyone that's a Christian Zionist or a biblical Zionist believes they have a historical and biblical right to the land. This guy sees us as a threat. He says we're genocidal. That's pretty interesting that he calls genocidal, occupying, expansionist ideology called Zionism, when he's the one trying to build the revived Ottoman Empire, when these guys are for the caliphate, when they want to come to America and take down America, the Islamists, and their own Muslim Brotherhood explanatorium, their memorandum says they're going to get Americans to do it with their own hands, destroy our miserable house, and they want to take over. As the lady said on C-SPAN back in the late 80s in my documentary Sabotage, I think it was, we're not here to assimilate. We're here to convert them to Islam, she said. And yet he has the audacity to say we're the ones that are genocidal, that we're the expansionist, Zionist. Of course, this is, again, this is what you would call, what is when you accuse your enemy of what you really are, right? It's that psychological game they like to play, right?
Yeah, projecting. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know if Erdogan's looked at a map recently, but I don't know how you can call Israel expansionist when they are a nation state about the size of New Jersey, surrounded by a absolute sea of Islamic nations. And every time Israel has given part of God's Holy Land away, it has not ended well for somebody. It's always ended in disaster and catastrophe. So, it's classic gaslighting, really, when in the face of all evidence, you continue to state the opposite and declare it's true because I say so, when none of the evidence, indicates that. The reality is, I never thought we'd be having this discussion, even though for years I've written about and talked about how America does not play a role in Bible prophecy, and from the Luciferian agenda, the New World Order agenda, they want to destroy America. There's got to be something that sort of brings us down, because we're the one nation still standing in the way of the full spectrum planetary global agenda. And so you just have to wonder if this might be the next step toward that direction. I hope not. I love our country. I think we have an incredible obligation and duty as Christians in this free country of ours to share the gospel and make a difference and be a light in this perverse world. But it sure seems like we're inching closer and closer to obscurity. This could be the next step, because, as long as America was helping support the modern state of Israel, such as they are, acknowledging that they're not perfect and they're not there in the land in belief. We are believing in the promises of God and helping Israel protect as an ally their homeland. As long as we were doing that, whatever else we were doing wrong, you just feel like God's grace is just going to continue, and we're going to continue to be a force in this world. But boy, when we turn against Israel, I just don't see it being much longer. Do you?
No, I really don't. But then again, I didn't think we'd be here to see all this. I thought we would be gone by now with all this unfolding.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, me too. Yeah, I mean, obviously, in my latest book, Fade to Black, Rise of Global Tyranny, after laying out all the different manifestations and signs of the times and the ways that they're building the tyrannical grid, my last chapter is on If We're Still Here. And I very plainly state in there, I can't see us being around much longer, but if we are, here's what I think unfolds in the next, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. And so, like you, going back several years ago, and when we were commentating about this stuff and writing about it and reading the scriptures and speculating, I'm thinking, Maranatha, come Lord Jesus. I just can't believe we'd be here to see some of these things unfolding in the technology world and the biodigital convergence, the transhumanist world, the AI takeover, all of it. But if you'd asked me, will America stand by Israel until the rapture, I would have said emphatically, of course we will. That's not going to be our undoing. Our undoing will be economic or war or some other, false flag or something like that. I just didn't really have a box to put the rejection and betrayal of Israel in. I just never saw it.
Look at this headline. This is again from the Jerusalem Post, and this is on July 4th, 2026. July 4th, 2026. Erdogan, Israel must not be allowed to spread smell of gunpowder and blood in our region again. The Turkish president added that, quote, any solution that does not rely on the countries of the region will not be sustainable, end quote. Turkish President Erdogan said the current government of Israel, quote, must not be allowed to spread the smell of gunpowder and blood in our region again, end quote, during a Saturday meeting with the Prime Minister of Pakistan in Istanbul. Quote, with the Istanbul agreement between Washington and Tehran, the world breathes a sigh of relief, end quote, said Erdogan. He added that, quote, any solution that does not rely on the countries of the region will not be sustainable, and no solution can last if it is outside the will of the countries of the region and without their contribution, end quote. Erdogan also announced a new cooperation plan with Turkey in the energy, transport, critical minerals, information technology, and defense sectors while pursuing a bilateral trade target of $5 billion. So, again, we just look at all the things he's saying, even in the last few days, and there he is being praised today in Turkey by President Trump. Now, you can say, well, Brandon, he's a deal maker, okay? I'm sorry. I don't care.
Right.
There is a right way and a wrong way to make deals. And you do not bolster and lift up and praise evil people. The Bible's very clear about that, right? The Bible is
100%.
very clear about calling evil good.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah,
can't
no
say,
doubt.
oh, well, it's for a deal and he's got to do what he's got to do to get a deal done. I'm sorry, no. God is more than capable to providentially bring things to pass without us having to compromise and promote evil as good in order to get a deal. That's called pragmatism at best. Evil in itself, to call evil good. JB?
Yeah, one of the things that's bothered me for a long time about Trump is the way whenever he does something questionable from a biblical moral standpoint, people will give him a pass. Oh, he's just trolling, or he's the art of the deal, and this is just what you have to do to make a deal. But like you, I'm sorry, I believe in moral integrity, and I believe that, yeah, sometimes you have to compromise, but there are some things you don't compromise on, and there are moral absolutes. And if that means you don't get to make the deal because you're standing for integrity, so be it. God will honor that. But the ends don't justify the means. You can't just claim, Trump's a great deal maker and he's masterful, and so that's how he made all of his billions of dollars. No, he made his billions of dollars, quite frankly, by cheating, lying, stealing, fooling around, those types of things. People that make great deals are not necessarily good just because they make great deals. Look at mobsters. I mean, mobsters, they know how to make a deal, but they also do it at great cost to moral fabric and integrity. So, yes, it is specifically egregious that he's calling evil good and good evil, praising people that want to destroy God's chosen nation of Israel. But I think stepping back to more the biblical principle, I'm not buying the premise that, just because he's a great deal maker, that makes him a good man. I mean, if you're a good deal maker and you do it with integrity and you stand firm on moral values, great. But there's a time when morality trumps making the deal, in my opinion.
Trumps, pardon the pun, right?
Yeah, right.
Look at this. This is back in April of 2026. Turkey, let me get rid of that ad. Hang on. Turkey, all these push-up buttons. All right, Turkey calls Netanyahu Hitler of our time after Israeli Prime Minister's sharp attack on President Erdogan. What triggered the war of words? Isn't that something? So now we're praising a guy who has said that Netanyahu is the Hitler of our time.
Yeah, it's never about what it's about, Brandon. We know that. So there's something afoot here. We can only speculate. Knowing the Luciferian agenda, which I've studied for 20 years, and the sort of the geopolitics of it, I can't help but think there's some alliances that are being built and forged here that really, as you sort of alluded to earlier, come right out of Ezekiel 38 and 39 with the Gog-Magog alliance. But it's more than just one deal. It's more than economic. Although our mutual friend Patrick Wood has pointed out that the compromise with Iran was all about economics. It was not about protecting the region or accomplishing regime change. Well, we certainly see that now. So I think there are probably many things that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, but we do know what we do know. And what we know based on Scripture is that it never ends well for those who help enemy nations who want to obliterate Israel do so by funding them and arming them. That's just not going to end well.
Let me ask you in closing. Today we announced our Worldview Weekend Leadership Program, where we're training Christian leaders to go through our course, a 2-year course. At the end of it, they're going to get all kinds of professional PowerPoint presentations, from my Revelation series to Daniel to Marxianity to In Defense of Christian Zionism, the heresy of Calvinism, refuting the heresy of Calvinism. I mean, they're going to get so much. We launched this today because we want to raise up people that can teach a biblical worldview, Sunday school class, Bible study, a home Bible study, and maybe that home Bible study will turn into a church. Because there is such a lacking in biblical worldview and Bible teachers in America today. Did you ever think in the 70s and 80s that one day we'd be saying in America there was a shortage of Bible teachers, prophecy teachers, biblical worldview teachers in America? A shortage. Did you ever think we would say that in the 70s and 80s when we had Francis Schaeffer and prophecy conferences packing stadiums, right? And now today we have such a shortage of people that can rightly teach the word. So we're launching this. And again, you can see the courses and the topics that are going to be available. And we've got great Bible teachers like Dr. Henry Morris III on video. We've got Andy Woods, David Noble, Josh McDowell, Norm Geisler, Erwin Lutzer, John Ankerberg. We've got Sharam Hayden, Usama Dakdok, Ron Carlson. This is just a small listing of these guys. It's very intense, but it's for lay people. It's for lay people. And at the end, we're going to mail them a beautiful, not a cheap, a beautiful diploma they can frame. And I'm hoping that many will become Christian worldview leaders. What do you make of this? We launched this today, JB.
I think that's outstanding, and thank you for doing that, because you're right. There is a dearth of leadership today. We don't have the Tim LaHaye's and Jerry Falwells and all the people that were out front taking a stand. Many reasons for that, obviously, the government schools and all of that, but we need more opportunities like this to build into young people a biblical worldview that will help them argue effectively, stand strong. If the Lord tarries, and like you and I both said, we just can't see it being much longer, but only God knows the timetable, and if he tarries, it's not going to get any easier for young adults who then become adults and are leaders in this world to stand firm on moral issues and integrity. And so I think it's outstanding. All of those men that you mentioned, most of them I've worked with, Sharam Hady and obviously Andy Woods, knew Norm Geisler very well, and many of the Josh McDowell I've shared the platform with. So you can't get a better list of folks there to help build into these young people. I love it.
Well, thank you. Of course, it's 36 years, and we started in 2004 filming with quality cameras, right? And so we have broadcast quality cameras we filmed them all with. We even went back to our masters, our SP Beta masters, and all these masters. We had to go on eBay and order all this old equipment that would read these old masters so we could bring these masters forward in high quality, where we had to compress them so people could watch them online with dial-up. So the quality was compressed, wasn't as good as it should be. So I went back and bought all this equipment, old equipment, to then be able to take our old formats, Beta, SPs, et cetera, and then bring that quality back, high-end quality. And I look at these like, wow, this is broadcast quality. So we have stuff from 2004 that we've been filming with Josh McDowell, Norm Geisler, and others, and going forward, that's all broadcast quality that gives us the ability to do this. What's very interesting is in 2004, I had the vision for this, and I actually had a speaker's release form, and it was a good, huge paragraph, and I had all of them sign it that included the rights to do this and use their name and their image for this. So I actually had them signing release forms back in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, knowing that eventually the technology would be there to do this and I'd want to do it. And I don't have to go now back and get anyone's releases because they were all citing them back then. So this has been in the works for a long time.
Well, God's certainly using you. I know your Worldview Weekend is already built into the lives of young people for, decades here. And I talk to people all the time that have attended those, wow. And it's impacted their life. So thank you for that. But yeah, and your new book, Revelation, you were on our podcast recently talking about that. And it's still on pre-order, right? It's not quite out yet? It is still
on pre-order. This is volume 1. It's done. I got that from the printer because I wanted a copy to go through myself. But the real version will be hardcover, a beautiful hardcover brown with gold print. But I actually got volume 1. It's all laid out. Volume 1 is all laid out. Logan did a great job laying it all out for our printer, and it'll be hardcover 7x10. This is printed on 8.5x11, but it'll be 7x10, the final. And he will finish volume 2 tonight, and then volume 3 I would think by next week. And so all 3 volumes are headed to the printer to be out in time for this fall. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, that's I know our folks were excited about it, hearing about it, and yeah, it's there's some good things happening in the world, right? I mean, it's not all gloom and doom, but certainly we need to pray for Israel, and we need to pray for our government, pray for President Trump. I don't know what's gotten into him, but pray that somebody can bend his ear before he goes past the point of no return.
So true, and pray for America, because this is inviting judgment.
Amen. Amen.
JB Hixson, his website is, tell us your website.
Notbyworks.org, and we have a free app, NBW Ministries, on the App Store.
Excellent. Notbyworks.org, notbyworks.org. And I already have you and Brandon Holthouse booked for next year's national conference.
I can't wait. Milwaukee, right? Up in the
Milwaukee.
in the Rust Belt. Yeah,
Yep,
love it. So thanks for the invite. Looking forward to it if we're still here.
Yeah, exactly. I have to book over a year out, guys, to get the kind of speakers we want. We have to book them out over a year. So we've already booked them for 2027, believe it or not. There you go. Notbyworks.org. JB, as always, thank you for your time and your ministry.
You bet. My pleasure, Brandon. Appreciate it.
JB Hixson checking in tonight, notbyworks.org. We'll be right back after this short break.
3 years ago, the United States was stunned by an announcement from war-torn Korea. U.S. Army Private David Hawkins and 20 other prisoners of the communists had become turncoats. They had renounced their own country and disappeared behind Red China's bamboo curtain.
What had you heard? Well, only what our Chinese captors had told us, how great they were working toward socialism, and the great strides that they were taking, bettering the life of the Chinese people who for so many thousands of years had lived a life of oppression under various governments.
All right, guys, over the 4th of July break, put together a whole brand new presentation for you. I've built PowerPoint and everything. This is, I think, one of the most important topics that I can warn you, my audience, about, particularly those of you that are 55 and older. Look, I don't give financial advice, I give financial opinion. But I believe, based on my research that I've been doing since the mid-90s, when I started reading the book by Larry Burkett, The Coming Economic Earthquake, and so many other books. And then, of course, you read Edward G. Griffin's The Creature from Jekyll Island. So much of my research since the mid-90s has been directed at how I believe our assets that we've worked our life for are at risk. Look, I've never had a 401k. I've never had an IRA. And I told all the financial planners, I'm sorry, I would rather pay the taxes on it now than to delay the taxes and probably be paying a higher tax bracket later. So no, I'm not interested. I'll pay the tax, and then what I have, I know I have. Number one. Number two, I believed, since reading Larry Burkett and other books back in the 90s, that the day would come when they would want to give me an IOU for my 401k or IRA. Now, again, I'm not criticizing anyone that chose to do that. Some people have probably done really, really well with their IRA and their 401k. But I do believe we're now entering, in my opinion, a very dangerous phase. And when governments have a hard time meeting their budgets, they can raise taxes and then they can go looking for assets. And they can also then start implementing what are known as capital controls. Now, again, I'm not making a claim here, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but I am telling you what my research shows. And I believe your life savings and your retirement accounts, many of them are at risk. And they're at risk from multiple threats. Joining me now to go through this PowerPoint, he's seeing it for the first time. Going through it with me now is Michael Weiner. Michael, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening, Brandon. Pleasure always.
All right, what do you think about this topic?
I think something we've delved into continuously over the last few years, and I can only say that there's never been a more important time. With the changes in the government, when we thought it was desperately hard and an interesting issue of consequence under Obama, worse under Biden, and now with the insanity that's going on around us out of this government, there's never been a more important time. This is a very, very important topic. Because, you know, when they talk about socialism, socialism does not, you own nothing. The government does. 1% owns, 99% don't own. And the first thing they do is grab up. And then additionally, we are dealing in a society that the debt has come to such a level in this country that they have to look for other areas. And Trump, when he said 3 weeks ago on a Monday that it is necessary to sit back and consider cryptocurrency as a means of dealing with our debt. Well, how does that work? It's called devaluation. They take your money, turn it into cryptos, and give you less of it. And in your retirement plan, it's just a simple process of paperwork and actually computer work, which can go on in milliseconds. And people don't want to pay attention to it. And if they don't, they are extremely foolish, just that they learned in Cyprus and other parts of the world when Europe took over the retirement plans of all of their people in all these countries. They tell you when to retire, they tell you how much you can get, and the big issue to all of you, no beneficiary. Goes back to the government. So it sounds like Social Security, doesn't it? Guess what? It is.
Excellent points. Let's go to our next slide. Here's the next one. What you may discover too late. A retirement statement is not the same as liquid wealth in hand. A brokerage balance is not the same as direct control under stress. And nominal bank balance is not the same as preserved purchasing power. The security you think you have may be far more fragile than you realize. So these are some points I put on the PowerPoint slide I made over the 4th of July weekend. Let's speak to these. A retirement statement is not the same as liquid wealth in the hand. And a brokerage balance is not the same as direct control under stress. Like I said, under stress, they put in capital controls. And remember, during the 2008 crisis, they shut off all access to taking money out of accounts. Remember that?
Yes, absolutely. And that was something, it was just a little taste that everybody got. All of a sudden, you had an account with multiple mainline companies, and they were spending weeks moving their people home. If for any reason you needed your money, you were out of luck. You had no access. There was no secondary market or anything created for you. You just didn't get it. And similar, we can taste the little things if we want to talk about historics. In 1933, when they shut down the banks, April 5th, 1933, Roosevelt didn't warn my grandfather. He put a sign up in all of the banks, which was a lie, bank holiday. And then the next day he posted at the post office, because we didn't have computers, turn in all of your money, we're issuing a new currency. You had no access to your bank account until May 1st. And then when you walked in the bank, guess what? You had half your money. You had no access, none. And that was 1933 without computers. In 1971, Nixon changed our money. If you went in the day before with money, they had to give you gold and silver. If you went in the next day, they shook your hand and said, "Had a nice day." No control. That's why gold IRAs were created, because Reagan knew this. He felt in his gut that American people needed to own a tangible asset in the retirement plan out of the reach of the government directly. And that's why he created it.
Sometime. Always enjoy.
Yep. Logan, if you can help me find that video, the congressman that talked about the bank shutting down. Remember that in 2008? We've played that clip so many times. He was on C-SPAN. Let me see if I can find it real quick. We've played it a gazillion times, so I don't know why I don't have it at my fingertips. But there was a congressman, I think he was from Pennsylvania, and he talked about how there was a digital run on the banks, and they had to shut everything down. I don't remember if this was 2001 or 2008. I want to say it was 2008, but he talked about this digital run that was happening on the banks, and they had to shut everything down, and people could not access their accounts. Remember that, Michael?
Yes, I do.
And so that really kind of goes to the point of what I'm talking about. People think that a broker's account or a balance sheet is the same thing as access. No. Or direct control. No. When there's financial stress, you're going to, I think, lose financial control. And people are going to be sitting there watching their wealth be bled away, and they're not going to be able to do a darn thing about it. They've been locked out.
You're getting me excited because you're missing another major point that you just said. And that is the fact why digital. Why does the government, why does Trump, why does the banks, why do the clarity people, why does the crypto people want to go digital? Control, people, control. That's exactly what you just alluded to. Everything that we had a digital break meltdown. Now you would think, well, let's learn from this. No, what they learned when that happened is, whoopee, we got access to all their money. They can't do a darn thing about it. And now what are they telling us? President Trump said 3 weeks ago, the solution to the debt is crypto, digital. It's like pet rocks with a little nothing on it. And then you've got Clarity Act. I mean, there's, let's say, the Clarity Act with Coinbase. You got the banks that want to create digital banking with Jamie Dimon. You got Trump with the Omni Bank that we went into. You've got the crypto guys creating their own world, and all of them are food fighting over this huge digital multi-trillion-dollar empire globally that everybody wants to get together with. The problem at the end of it is we lose, because when they all get together and stop fighting, they go, oh boy, it's time for dinner. And then they just dig right in and take what they want. And you can't do anything about it.
What was that guy's name? Was it Jankowski? What was his name, Lo? Jankorski. All right. Did you find it? Good boy, Logan. Here we go. Watch this.
On Thursday at about 11 o'clock in the morning, the Federal Reserve noticed a tremendous drawdown of money market accounts in the United States to the tune of $550 billion was being drawn out in a matter of an hour or two. The Treasury opened up its window to help. They pumped $105 billion in the system and quickly realized that they could not stem the tide. We were having an electronic run on the banks. They decided to close the operation, close down the money accounts, and announce a guarantee of $250,000 per account so there wouldn't be further panic out there. And that's what actually happened. If they had not done that, their estimation was that by 2 o'clock that afternoon, $5.5 trillion would have been drawn out of the money market system of the United States, would have collapsed the entire economy of the United States, and within 24 hours, the world economy would have collapsed. Now, we talked at that time about what would happen if that happened. It would have been the end of our economic system and our political system as we know it. And that's why, when they made the point, we've got to act and do things quickly, we did.
Wow. And that was 2008, right, Logan? Was that 2008 he talked about? I mean, that's just crazy. Lehman Brothers, that was all that mess. And now we're worse off than we were then. And now more is digital now than was then. So in many ways, we've been blessed that we have all this knowledge. You know, they say, the old saying, knowledge is power. We have all this knowledge. We've been here before. We have seen this movie, right? And we've been warned. And how many people are taking the warning seriously, Michael?
Not enough. What's really interesting, if you look into the whole phenomenon, it all goes back even to the industry itself. Because when somebody calls me up today and says, well, my financial advisor said that he doesn't like gold. I hear this all the time. Why? Because gold's a tangible asset. Why do not central banks in the world own U.S. stocks? They don't. They own tangible asset of gold. They buy gold all the time. They're going to be buying the heck out of it by the end of the year. But what's really interesting out of all of it is everybody indirectly, all of these people are pushing you into digital control. Everything you do is digitally controlled, be it stocks, mutual funds, bonds, everything is digitally controlled. And when they want to say no and they stop the music like in musical chairs, you lose. I won't. That's why sometimes I say to people, if things get crazy and money becomes totally digitally reversed and controlled, I'm a tangible guy. I'm going to eat. You're not. Okay. You're selling your guns or whatever else you can to figure out what you're going to do. But that's how they will control you. That's why in other countries in the socialist world, you don't even have any control. That's why China's going totally digital and they're ahead of us on it. And realize the fact that socialism is part of our life in this country right now. And if you don't think, everybody laughed at Madani when that, I don't even want to say it, I'm a gentleman, when that thing ran for office. And the reality was and is that everybody laughed. Oh, it's ridiculous. What happened? He won. We've got to start paying attention.
And the Democrat Socialists of America just won the other day in primaries. They're winning across the country. They're polling well. So here's the question I have for many of you tonight. And again, I don't give financial advice, I give financial opinion, but here's my opinion. How many of you are getting your assets off the bullseye? How many of you are getting your assets where these slimy socialists can't confiscate your life's wealth, your life's work, right? Work is what produces wealth. And you know what? That's one of the things about someone stealing from you. One of the things that makes you have a righteous indignation when someone steals from you is because you worked hard and long to get that wealth, that money, however much that is to you. It's your wealth. We don't have to talk about what the number is. It's varying for different people, but it's still, regardless of the amount, your wealth. And it came through your work, and it came through your sacrifice, and it came through your discipline and your perseverance, and it came through your doing without. And think about doing without only to have it taken by someone else in a lawsuit or taken by someone else in confiscation. So my opinion is put it into hard assets, get yourself a trust, keep your stuff separated into various LLCs, and then in a big trust. That's my opinion. And then be into hard assets that people can't find. Be into hard assets that people can't get their hands on. I'm sorry. What are you talking about? If you don't have a bunch of money sitting in the bank, they can't take it because it ain't there. And that is one of the things. When someone takes through hook or crook what you've worked for, all of those years and years and years of hard work and sacrifice and doing without. Many of you did without. You didn't take a bunch of European trips. You haven't belonged to every golf course in town. You haven't driven the most expensive cars. You have sacrificed. And do you want to sacrifice your whole life just so you were saving it up for some slimy person to take or the government? No. Do what smart people do. They go into hard assets and assets that can be taken off the table and off the radar. Because if you don't, in my opinion, here's what's coming. Again, in many ways, I said we've been blessed because we've been warned. For those who are listening, I've played this clip over the years. This one bears in mind because the FDIC, they had a little meeting caught on camera a few years ago bragging that whether the people in this room have, the Americans have more trust in the banking system than many of us in this room. And they laughed. And there's the talk of a bail-in. And we already know this happened back in, I think, 2013 in Cyprus. And then I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint that I made over the 4th of July weekend with you to see the rest of it. Well, watch this video and listen to this, please.
Financial crisis is making me very sad. Sad because I'm watching people suffer, people that haven't done any mistakes. People have worked hard for years, for their whole lifetime, to save some money. And then overnight, they lose it. This is not fair.
Σοφία Ανδρέου είναι το 6, παρακαλώ.
Eula Dimitriou is the matriarch of this family business. She's going to have 80,000 euros taken from her savings, about $100,000. Harsh treatment the European powers have demanded nowhere else in return for financial aid.
We feel we are being used as a guinea pig here. They want to see, Europe wants to see if this will work, and then they can do it in another place. I have friends in France, in Italy, in Spain, in Greece, and they are scared. They said this has happened once, it may happen again.
And that's what you call a bail-in, Michael.
I'm aware. I'm aware. You know, what's really, really concerning out of all of it is that we preach one thing. First of all, I don't tell you to take everything and put it in gold, but I tell you balancing your portfolio. And the people on the digital world, and that's all your financial advisors. I look at some people are great, but at the reality is, I keep reminding people this is your money. If things go south, if things get bad, if things happen, they don't happen to your advisors or other people. It happens to you. That's why in 2008, how come all the rich people that were hedge fund managers that all your advisors fed money to? It's a food fight because it starts at the top with them creating their funds, and then at the bottom with the guys whose companies they work for, and then the bottom of that, all the brokers and financial advisors that work there and shoot the money up the system. Well, how come they didn't lose their houses in 2008 and 9 in New York? How come they didn't lose their Bentleys or their Rolls Royces or their yachts or anything? They didn't because they didn't lose. You lost. You're the victim, not them. We don't want any victims right now. We try to warn you and give you advice on where you stand. When you sit back and look at a country where in my lifetime, when I lived and grew up in a family that had a father was in World War II and legitimately fought against Soviets, and not Soviets, but against the Nazis, and ultimately socialism in general, what's we live with right now, and sit back and see that we are living it in our country, that our children are running around thinking this is a better way of life. When we have people on the 4th of July sitting at George Washington's desk without a flag around, just trying to lecture me about my country, when he got on a plane and came here 10 years ago, get on a plane and go back to wherever you came from with the elephants. You know, the reality is that you are at risk. We keep saying it, and it keeps playing itself out. And that's why getting protected, especially in your retirement plans, because that's your Achilles heel.
Well, yeah.
Why?
Because access is different than ownership. That's
correct.
Access. Here's my next slide I made. Access is different than ownership. You may own assets. Does not always mean you can access them. If you have a market closures, settlement delays, cyber disruptions, broker failures, emergency restrictions. So ownership on paper does not guarantee liquid wealth in hand. You know, broker failures. You know, you have the experience with having a hard time getting some of these broker accounts, people oversee it, on the phone to even transfer the money, to release the money, right? Tell us some of the stories where your people, our people, call you up, say, hey, yeah, you know, I'd like to put $50,000, $100,000, whatever, into, or I'd like to move $250,000 of my IRA into some precious metals, physical precious metals, you know, and I want it, then they're going to buy it and ship it to the depository in Delaware where it's licensed and numbered and it's yours, and you can have it, pay the taxes on it, eventually have it shipped directly to you, whatever. And you guys can't sometimes get the brokers to release the money, correct?
Well, it's even worse than that. It's sort of like a funnel. At the top of it is where the people that just drag their heels when it's time to transfer. They just drag along, and they figure time will maybe make you change your mind. So even though you ask for the transfer to be done, we've got to keep checking all the time to see where the money is, because they run it slow. They slow walk it like snail's pace. And that's one thing. Then we have the other people where they create layers of activity to try to block you. Well, you got to talk to your broker. Oh, no, the broker's not available. We'll get his assistant. Oh, no. I mean, it goes around in a vicious circle. Then we've had people who legitimately, because they are over 60, are being told that they're mentally incapable of handling their money. I've had people that were doctors in their 70s being told that they're okay to operate on people, but God, they can't handle their money. Or I've had people where they literally contacted family members to try to stop them. I've had them literally contact the state and try to accuse people of needing to be in conservatorship. It's outrageous. We can have a president that's 80 years old, but for goodness sakes, if you're 68 and want to move your money, you're an idiot. It's not their money.
And we've had banks. We've
their money. That's why Reagan created this, Brandon. That's exactly because he knew this type of game would be going on. And it's a game. The problem is the people on one side are total winners, and the people who are actually funding the game, who are funding it, are the total losers. They're like the stepchildren.
And we've had banks tell people when they went into the bank to wire you guys money, the banks have refused to do it, saying we don't think it's in your best interest. Right?
Yeah, now they got a little banker that looks like a Walmart greeter going, we don't think this is in your interest. Really? Go get a Tootsie Roll. I mean, seriously, who the heck is this guy telling me that if I want to move my money, I need his permission?
Now, why do they need permission? Because, to go back to my PowerPoint I made over the 4th of July, you got things, I think, like the Depository Trust Corporation, known as DTC. They got that issue. Most securities are held in street name through intermediaries. On the issuer's books, the registered owner is often these various companies and Depository Trust Corporation nominees. Investors are beneficial owners, not direct registered owners. So listen, folks, you, the investor, are a beneficial owner, not a direct registered owner. And the concern is not the loss of ownership, but the layers between you and your assets during a crisis. So remember the Depository Trust Corporation. In other words, you basically are an uninsured creditor in the small print. True or false, Mr. Weiner?
Absolutely true. And when you go into this, exactly, totally true. You can legitimately, and when people pass and they're within a gold IRA and we all go to a better place and you own a gold retirement plan, it's real simple to transfer it to your family. Good luck with some of these stock, even though you have the trust set up, and God knows my son is a lawyer, so both of them. In all due respect, they create barriers for your family even to get assets transferred. It takes days and weeks. I've got somebody right now working on a transfer that took weeks to get done. You know how long it takes to get done with your gold? Like 0. You call up and we do whatever has to be done. We can liquidate you same day. Nobody could stop you. You are the captain of the ship. That's why Reagan created it. That's why it was put together. But, when you look at Bernie Madoff and people wonder what happened with Bernie Madoff, how did that huge multi-billion-dollar scandal happen with Bernie Madoff? Well, guess who recommended him? All the big 8 firms and now big 6 firms, all the major consulting firms in the industry, banks, major consulting firms were recommending him as somebody to do business with. And this guy, as soon as he got the money, was going to Vegas. He was literally having a great time. And then they find out after 2, 3, 4 years of billions of dollars going to him that, you know what? We made a mistake. He's a crook. Really? Lawsuits went on. People collected 10 cents on the dollar. Possession.
People committed suicide over it. People lost their homes, their retirement. They lost perhaps their second home. Maybe they were snowbirds. They had to give up maybe the condo they had in Florida where they were living during the winter for their retirement. Some people, as I said, committed suicide. They lost it all. And guess what? The smart boys weren't there to write them a check and make them whole, were they? They're smart boys. The smart financial boys were nowhere to be found, were they, Michael?
No, and if you remember watching movies sometimes or issues when they talk about, well, I had an advisor and he stole all my money and went to South America, like in Rocky, the movie Rocky, and he lost all his money. And there's so many movies where those type of things happen because it's real life. It has happened with people. And you know what? They can't do that if you have a tangible asset.
Yeah. How are they going to get their hands on it? They don't know where it's at.
Yeah, try to fly out of the country with it. Good luck for that.
Yeah. What was it, Eddie Murphy? Maybe, Logan, maybe you can find the clip. Eddie Murphy, there's a great clip. Eddie Murphy tells the story of meeting James Brown. And James Brown says to Eddie Murphy, whenever you get yourself some serious cash, make sure you bury it. And Eddie Murphy's like, what? He's like, because then the government can't take it from you. And Eddie says, but they could take the land. And reportedly, James Brown says, but they don't know where the money is. He said James Brown had learned enough. His advice financially to this young guy now, Eddie Murphy, who's coming up and getting money, is look out for the government. You want to make sure they can't steal it. Well, that was several decades ago. Now you got literal socialist Democrat, the Democrat Socialists of America winning elections. Do you have that clip, Logan? You have the one with Eddie Murphy. That's pretty hilarious. All right, let me go to the next one. All right, so how is it these things happen? Let me give you a list of things that can happen that are major crises that could unfold one or more at the same time. And then all of a sudden, voila, you're locked out. You're shut down, like we heard the congressman saying. We were having a digital run on the bank. We had to shut everything off. Derivatives. Now, this is what I think Warren Buffett called the financial weapon of mass destruction. A lot of guys can't even define what a derivative is, but it's something that derives its value from other things. And there are $218.8 trillion in U.S. commercial bank national derivatives now. $218.8 trillion. That is massive. And many of these banks that hold these are all interconnected with other financial groups and banks that have them. So the concern, Michael, and many of our retirement accounts that people have are exposed through the financial system. So the issue is, what will be the domino that falls and causes all the rest to start falling? But at some point, you're going to have a domino that gets pushed over. I don't know if it's going to be derivatives, if it's going to be a cyber attack, whether it's going to be massive inflation, war. I don't know what it's going to be. But there's going to be something that's the domino. Derivatives, some of these banks, I'm told, have more derivatives than the GDP of America.
Absolutely. You know, derivatives are what's simply understood by anybody is it's a Ponzi scheme. They derive one thing, then they derive another, and they layer it, and they layer it, and they layer it, and they layer. I can keep going on with the layers. You want to talk about a 7-layer cake? Times it by 700. The reality is when Enron went broke, they could never track down all the money because they created their own derivatives values. They had so many different layers that they created. Literally, they brought in actuaries. They still could never get all of that money together. They never ever did. They never got it. And, you know, the derivative market and these other markets will come to a head with debt. Now, you would think it would be the end of the world. It won't be. Who gets punished at these times? Not the people who created the derivatives, not the people who are running the derivatives. You and I. They will say, okay, that dollar is now worth 80 cents. Oh, no, well, guess what? Now that dollar is worth 50 cents. Oh, guess what? That dollar is now worth 40 cents. And guess what? That dollar is no longer in existence. We'll give you what we can. That's exactly how it'll play itself out, Brandon. That's it. We won't not exist. We just won't have what we wanted to have before. That's why we talked in one show about the death of a generation due to Roosevelt. He killed it. He destroyed all of their wealth in literally a stroke of a pen in 1933, April 5th. And that literally only saved us from World War II, brought us out. But, you know, I sat on I can't go into a lot of details legally. I actually was involved in a bank that I literally did business with back in 1984. My company and other people, very well-known individuals, we did business with them, very well prominent bank. I can mention one guy who was an investor, Richard Pryor. He's dead. He lost all of his money. We all sat there and got told by the FDIC that we were not going to get our money. And then they said, no, we're going to give you your money because it had nothing to do with the bank. It was an investment. And guess what? They gave nobody anything. We lost all of it.
Well, talk about losing. We looked at derivatives as one domino that can fall. Another one is cyber attacks. And then again, we talked about different things can happen. Well, now all of a sudden, due to a cyber attack, you no longer have availability to access your online banking. Then your trading is interrupted. Then your payments are delayed. Then your settlement systems, they fail. And then the confidence in the system starts to evaporate. And of course, this whole system in America is largely built on confidence. And when you don't have access to your money, well, you may have money, but as the graphic there says, access to money may become the problem, not simply ownership, right? So, you know, again, I don't give financial advice. I give financial opinion. I'm a hard asset guy. In the Bible, wealth is defined as gold, silver, cattle, houses, and land. Okay? I've been buying silver and gold since 1993. Okay? I own land. I own land in more than one state because I believe in having a diversified portfolio. So I have land. I don't do anything with it. It just sits there. That's the nice thing about it. I don't have to do anything with it. And in the places where it's sitting, the tax on it is so dirt cheap that it's almost laughable. But that's a hard asset. I know where it's at. No one's going to come by and pick it up and take it away. So I personally believe in hard assets. And I just gave you an example of some hard assets: gold, silver, houses, land, right? I don't have to worry about someone hacking a cyber hack on land. I don't have to worry about someone cyber hacking and stealing precious metals, right? Let's go to the next one. National debt, tipping points for this country. National debt, the government's shrinking safety net. Debt held by the public is now 100% of GDP. That's one of the big stories this week. Our debt has now surpassed GDP, projected to reach 120% of gross domestic product by 2036. And I think it's going to hit that before 2036. We're running at a faster rate than a lot of economists thought would happen. This is occurring faster. It's unraveling faster than they thought. Debt is already at its highest level since World War II. Greater debt means fewer options in a crisis. They're going to put in capital controls. More borrowing, more inflation, or painful liquidation. And that's if you can get access to liquidate. Because again, I think you'll see capital controls. We're seeing it now in other parts of the world, are we not, Michael?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's existing right now. Well, first of all, in China, you don't have any control. So you make it real simple.
But there are capital controls, I think, going on in parts of Europe.
Oh, well, and in Europe, it's unbelievable. I mean, the biggest, if you ever heard of the strikes that have gone on regarding retirement money in Europe, first of the strikes went on because they changed the age of retirements. They literally made it from 62 to 64. You can't even retire when you want to, let alone get your money and let alone have a beneficiary. Everything goes back to the government. And then they legitimately in England, which is England is more of a socialist empire right now than a British monarchy. It's pathetic what's going on in that country. And what went on with that death of that young man in Ireland, it's just unbelievable. But these people right now in that country, and that's why the lady we had on from Cyprus that you did the clip on, they in Europe don't have the freedoms that we do. They are more run like a socialist empire than a democracy. And right now, that's why Trump is having problems with some of the people in NATO, because NATO isn't what it was before. NATO is totally different. These countries stand up to us when we saved their rear ends all those years. In Spain, they don't want to let our planes land. In Italy, they don't want to let our planes, because they decided that they don't like us. So to me, I'd be saying, well, goodness, if there's a big problem, are they going to say they don't want to help us? That sort of shows you what somebody's melt is all about. And it's the same thing with their banks. We're interconnected globally financially. And what Trump has tried to do, to his credit, is try to control some of that, because Europe can pull the strings on us, as well as one point of time before Trump got in, China had huge controls in our country financially, which they still do, but it's been cut back somewhat. But we all are interconnected. And the only solution that Trump came up with for all this debt is one thing: cryptos. What is that? It's called digital, okay? and digital changes all the time.
I want to show you this, Michael. Look at this. This is from the International Monetary Fund, okay, IMF. Capital controls in times of crisis, do they work? Okay, so they wrote a position paper on this back in 2023. Here's the abstract. This paper provides an analysis of the use and effects of capital controls, talking about different countries they looked at it in, which experienced at least one financial crisis between 1995 and 2017. Countries often turn to using capital controls in crises. Some ease inflow controls while others tighten controls on outflows. A key finding is that countries with pervasive controls before the start of the crises are shielded compared to countries with more open capital accounts, which see a significant decline in capital flows during crises. In contrast, the effectiveness of capital controls introduced during crises appears to be weak and difficult to identify. There's also some evidence that the introduction of other outflow controls during crises is negatively associated with sovereign debt ratings, but that investors may actually forgive with time. But notice what it says. A key finding is that countries with pervasive controls before the start of the crisis are shielded compared to countries with more open capital accounts. Well, there you go, folks. And you wonder why, again, the bankers see what's coming and they start putting in legislation to move us more digital, so they can control and shut down outflows. They're already, I believe, laying the framework for what they know is coming and for what they'll be able to control and shut down. Agreed, Michael?
Absolutely. That's why all we hear right now is digital, CBDC, stablecoin, Coinbase, crypto, omni situation from Trump. Why aren't they talking about financial freedom? They're not. They don't want us to be financially free, because if we control our money, we're not in control. The reason why in the Constitution they gave us the right to bear arms was to bear arms against them. They wanted the American people to have freedoms of speech against the people who governed us, to be able to stand up to that. And all of those things have been whittled away and whittled away and whittled away. And we're at the end of the line right now. How much do you own right now that you really call private property? Remember when you say, this is my private property? Well, explain to me, what is your private property? Explain that to me. You know, you could be sitting there with $1 million with cash right next to me on a table, and I'm sitting here with $1 million of gold coins on the other side. Guess who really controls something? Because that paper money, I don't control. It says promissory note. Gold, I control. It's mine. It's empowering. I can't say anybody I've ever talked to who gets delivery of their metal and says to themselves they're empowered, or the people who have an IRA for the first time, that they are actually in control. They don't have to call up and say, can you do this, please? Can you do that, please? Is it okay with you if it's none of it, just whatever you want. It's yours. You control it. Tell me what you want me to do. That is.
And you're talking about people that have chosen to put gold in their IRA, and that gold is sitting in a depository in Delaware with their name, and the gold is actually physically there with the numbers and the bars, so they know it's theirs. And if they want to call you up and say, Michael, I want to cash out, how's that process work? So I call you up and say, hey, Mike, you know that money sitting in my IRA and gold in Delaware? I want it. Well, I want it. What happens?
Put you on hold and say that, look, we'll get a liquidation notice from the trust company today. I'll call you back in an hour or two. We'll do the liquidation. 2 days later, you can get the money from the trust company.
No, wait a minute. So the money comes over. Who pays the taxes? Do they pay it after they get the money? Who pays the taxes?
When the money is distributed to you, just like anything else, you make a decision of how much you want them to hold in taxes. That's up to you. You come up with a number. That's up to an individual. The whole idea of a retirement plan is to pay taxes in the future when you're not working, and the taxable base that you have is less. Your income is less. It's all about that. Paying for it at a point of time where you're not making the money that gives you the highest tax level. But additionally, what's on a shelf in Wilmington, Delaware is in your name. You're the only one, not Swiss America, not the trust company, who has access to that metal. We have people who are with Worldview who actually drove to Delaware and picked up their gold. So you can go visit it if you want, or they can ship it to you in a couple days and you get it. The moment it leaves that building, it's a distribution. but it's insured while it's there at the replacement value. You are in total control of it. You can sell it, take delivery of it. It's not a piece of paper.
So if you say you want to take delivery, did they send you coins? They send you a gold bar?
Whatever you own in your account. It's whatever you bought and whatever you own in your account.
So you can put numismatic. You can put numismatic, a tray of numismatic coins in there.
There is a numismatic coin available for IRAs. It used to be unimportant up until the genius Obama and his so-called wife came into office. And then that changed the whole narrative on that. So numismatics and retirement plans are important due to the fact that if they try to nationalize, you might not want to own something in there that isn't totally Teflon. And that's what that numismatic gold coin does offer. Peace of mind. It lets you sleep with both eyes closed. Because what we saw happen with Obama is he was totally a financial proctologist. And then we looked at Trump coming into office, and Trump did great things in his first term. He was really exciting, but then COVID hit and all the lies that went along with that. And then along comes Biden when they woke him up during the day, or somebody else hit the little button for the sign me thing. Guess what? They changed everything Trump did almost all of it, just wiped it out. And then they pardoned anybody who did anything wrong. Family members, you name it. I want a pardon, get a pardon. That's not how it's supposed to work, but it did. So I guess what I'm saying is when you sit back with a guy like Fauci, who and most people believe was complicit in the deaths of millions of people globally, and that guy's still walking around. Literally, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what the world has changed itself.
So do you want to trust the power elite with your life savings, your retirement? I want to go back to the retirement real quick, though. So let's say you decide you want to take that gold. Do you cash it out and get a check? That's one option, right?
Yes, you can sell it and get cash, whatever the flavor.
Another option is taking physical delivery. So in most cases, what would that physical delivery be? Would it be a gold bar? Would it be gold coins? What would it be?
Whatever they bought at the time of purchase.
Are there certain requirements of what kinds of gold you can have in an IRA?
Absolutely.
And what kinds are they?
Well, there's gold coins, which are like the present day gold coins, gold eagles, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs. Panthers,
so they can be freshly minted, not 1933 or older.
And then the numismatic is not the 1933. It's a coin that the United States government came up with in 2003, and that the 38th director of the United States Mint declared as a numismatic. He made it a numismatic, and that ultimately made it a void from any type of governmental intervention.
Now, what does the word numismatic mean? Do you know?
Collectible.
Collectible. So they made it a collectible because he declared it to be, particularly so you could house it inside a vault as part of your IRA.
Well, he felt it was a special product, and he wanted to make something that was special. And then he couldn't declare it to be a commemorative because it was legal tender money. In other words, it's a $50 gold piece. It's not a commemorative. So they literally declared it to be a numismatic, and it's a very special coin, and they've done extremely well.
Is it normally 1 ounce?
Yeah, they have 1 ounce. They have some of the smaller ounces available. Most of the time we try to deal with the ounce. I'd love to be able to get the smaller ones, but they stopped making them. So it's just a matter of what we might get during a sale from a death or an estate or something like that. But the collectible numismatic gold in an IRA is awesome.
And so if they have that and they want to take physical custody, it's mailed to them, and then they do what they want with it.
Exactly. And we offer them a guaranteed buyback even after they take delivery. Liquidity with us is less than 4 days unless you get on a plane and come here.
But which some have done.
That have taken delivery of it and send it back to us. And we send the money all the time, all the time.
All right, let's go to number 4, inflation, the silent tax. Okay, your balance may stay the same while your purchasing power disappears. Well, all you got to go do is type in what did the average house cost in 1980? What did the average car cost in 1980? What's the average cost of a house now? What's the average cost of a car now? What has changed? It's the purchasing power. It's taking more dollars to purchase. You've seen a decrease in your purchasing power. But what if you put $10,000, $50,000 in 1982, 83 into gold, and then what it would be worth today? You would still today have the same purchasing power. Your gold would say it is more in dollars, but in reality, it's the same amount of gold. It just now is able to buy equally what it would have bought then because the dollar is decreased. It's still the same 1 ounce gold Eagles, right?
Right. But in 1980, you could buy a Mercedes little sports car for about $32,000, fully loaded. Now that same car is about 120. So it's gone up 4 times in value. What has gold done since then? Gold's gone up about 100 times, well, 80 times in value. So your gold will still get you the car, but if you try to spend the money you spent then, the same amount of dollars, you're not going to be able to do it. In a retirement plan, which most people and most of us have trusted it, and rightfully so. We believed in our country. We trusted this. We put a good part of our dollars in there for ourselves and ultimately for our family. And reality is that you find out that the number one low-hanging fruit that the government constantly keeps looking at is your retirement money, because it's a treasure trough of goodies.
Yeah.
And they look at it as a shopping spree. And that's what Roosevelt did. And, you know, Roosevelt in 1933, when he changed the currency, devalued the dollar, he canceled all the savings bonds from World War I. He just sliced them up. Says, you're not getting anything. Too bad.
So if you're sitting with, say, $100,000 in cash in your savings account, over the time of inflation, now all of a sudden with food, fuel, housing, and insurance and everything, medical care going up, your dollars are buying less and less and less. So you have to have something to hedge against the inflation, which is where a hard asset is very important. Houses, land, cattle, gold, silver, something that's a hard asset that tends to go up with inflation. Now, I think we have the real concern here of inflation continuing on and on and on and on, because I don't see our government stopping printing money. They continue to buy our own treasuries. Warsh has got to decide whether he wants to do apparently what Trump wants, which is cut interest rates. But there's hints that he may indeed raise interest rates because he's concerned about inflation, some say. What do you think he's going to do? Because I'm hearing some economists say he's going to have to raise interest rates. Others are saying, no, Trump put him in there because Trump wants interest rates lower. I'm also concerned about the fact that we're hearing that inflation is running a lot hotter, obviously, than even the Trump administration's telling us. Michael?
Well, I think, first of all, I can't blame all of the inflation on Trump. Some of it's a carryover from Biden and his stupidity.
Of course.
But so it's not all his fault. He's living with that. I do not believe, although Warsh's minions, all the little people that work there, including Jerome Powell, that idiot who stayed on, they are trying to talk in the background like they want to raise it. I do not believe Warsh will do that. I think he sees a capital environment where he thinks it's positive. I don't think he's going to necessarily drop it, but I really think it's going to be, he's really going to be hard pressed to raise it. I just don't see it. I really see what's happening is a restructuring of our markets. I think that you ultimately can't have markets, stock market, et cetera, just keep going up, up, and up, up, and up. It's not healthy. It makes no sense. It makes itself look very derived from controls and manipulation. And I think that'll be a problem. But I think Warsh will definitely, I think he'll fight tooth and nail not to raise interest rates.
All right, let's go to the next one. War, the force multiplier, war, higher energy prices, supply disruptions, credit stress, market volatility, cyber threats. War can accelerate every other financial threat. And yet, of course, what do we see? We see some of these concerns, right? We got Russia and Ukraine. They're kicking it in higher and coming at each other harder now, right now, than they have in many, many months. We have, of course, what's going on with Iran. We've got China. I don't know what they're going to do with Taiwan. I don't know what's going to happen there. But we're living in very, very perilous times when it comes to war. And war has a way of causing many other financial problems to become much worse, correct?
Absolutely. And when you're sitting back with the amount of output of cash that we put in, with the output of costs that we have in there, when you look at Russia right now, the instability of the world, you know, I'm more concerned realistically about Russia than I am about the situation in Iran. I think ultimately Trump will get to a point after this elections where he'll just clean house. And just the only way to stop these people is a regime change. You can't fix stupid, and you can't fix a terrorist. They're terrorists, period. I mean, if they want to come over to my house, they can. They just ain't leaving. But reality is that when you look at Russia and Ukraine is winning now in a lot of ways. They're actually taking land back. They're actually talking about taking Crimea back. They're actually taking the battle to Russia. They've done brilliant things with a lot of different things. And that's just making Russia come to a point of saying, well, maybe we ought to look at a tactical nuke. I mean, the problem is Trump won't stand for it, but it also shows Putin turning around and saying, well, maybe I need to go in another direction since the war I thought I was going to win in a week is now going on for 5 years. And maybe I need to go to some little peanut country that I could swallow up like Latvia or Belarus or one of those other countries and start moving towards Poland and other countries. So we are in a very tumultuous period of time. And when war steps into play, the first thing the government does, fortunately and unfortunately, is try to lock down assets, which is why principles become more important, because we don't have the great generation right now. We don't have the people like my father and other people's moms and dads that fought for this country without a question, without a concern. They immediately joined. In 2001, when we had the attack on World Trade Center, people immediately joined. Literally people in America stood up. The righteous American belief stood up. But look where we're at. 25 years later, we're going to have a 25th anniversary for the World Trade Center. And who's officiating on it? A Muslim terrorist, politico, socialist, communist. That's who's going to be. The New York people should be ashamed of themselves.
Mm-hmm. A cultural jihadist.
And they put a jerk like him in power, and his wife, who hates Jews, hates Christians, hates America, and don't want. And they're going to officiate over that event. Good luck.
And a lot of people think jihad is one kind, where you blow yourself up. There's all kinds. There's cultural jihad, financial jihad. Number 6, access is, as we've already been saying, different than ownership. So we've dealt with that. Depository Trust Corporation, we dealt with that. Terrorist attacks, that's another one. Attacks on financial institutions, disruption of payment systems, damage to critical infrastructure, panic and market freefall, insurance, reinsurance, strain. Terror can disrupt access, confidence, and the flow of money. 9, pandemic and plagues. Then, of course, we already saw that during COVID, right? Supply chain breakdowns, businesses shut down, job losses, healthcare system is strained, government response creates economic stress, and the historical records show that these pandemics or plagues can devastate economies and markets. And when businesses shut down, now you have less goods and services, and now you got money with the quantitative easing, and now you've got money running around there with less productivity of the American people because businesses have shut down and job losses, and your inflation starts to skyrocket, right? We saw that during COVID, didn't we? In prices of homes and what was going on there. 10, the danger is convergence. One spark can trigger a system crisis, okay? And again, you end up with a loss of your access to your wealth, loss of your purchasing power. So the issue is be prepared. So final thoughts, the greatest risk is not one isolated event. It's multiple systemic pressures occurring at the same time. So basically what we're saying tonight is be informed, be prepared, be wise, Protect what you've worked a lifetime to build. And I'll give the disclaimer again. I don't give financial advice. I give financial opinion. But I wanted to put this presentation together over the 4th of July and come back here on the air after being gone for 6 days off the air and say, look, I believe for my audience, one of the greatest things I can tell you is, particularly with my biggest demographic, which is 55 and older, do not be led astray. Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. Do not be bullied. Do not be intimidated. Do not give up control of what you own, what you have worked your whole life for, because someone tries to belittle you, make you feel stupid, uneducated, foolish, embarrassed, so that you give into the pressure and stay in the system. We know there's a system reset coming. They brag about it, the Great Reset. If you want to be fully in the system, that's totally up to you. Go for it. But do not moan and cry and complain when the system is reset and what you thought you owned, you really didn't, and you don't have access to it, and you now find yourself in a situation where what you have chosen to sacrifice for is no longer available to you. And I don't want to see that happen to anyone. And I'm not saying do something. It's up to you to do what you want. Do your own homework, do your own due diligence. But I'll tell you, I believe what the Bible says when it comes to wealth. Land, houses, cattle, gold, silver. And I've been a purchaser of gold and silver since 1993. I have the receipts to show it. Okay? And you do what you want. But I don't see the government cutting its budget. I don't see them slowing down on growth or expansion. And I certainly see an environment where Democrat Socialists of America and other such individuals are going to come into power, and they're going to be looking to steal the wealth of people, particularly the capitalists, who they think is the source and suffering of all the suffering and oppression. The source is Christianity and capitalism. They're going to be coming after those they hate politically, worldview-wise. So if you want to leave a big bullseye on all you've worked for, that's up to you. But if you want to take it legally off the table, off the bullseye, and have what you have a right to under the Constitution, which is to be secure in your papers and your things and privacy, and not having people know what you own or how much or where it is, you have that constitutional God-given right. But there is going to come a time, Michael, when for many people the prices will be too high. There'll be a barrier to entry. Right now, I think is a great opportunity for dollar cost averaging and for jumping in. There'll be another time when they may not be able to move their money. The capital controls are in place and the train has left the station and you're not getting on board the hard asset train because it's no longer available. You cannot get a ticket. Closing comments?
Well, possession is 9/10 of the law, but possession of the right thing is 9/10 of the law. When you own things you don't really possess, you have a problem. We keep telling people that this is your money and protect yourself. We keep telling people that this is your account, deal with it. We keep telling people that there's a problem, and then every day you hear about it, but they don't want to tell you the truth. In 2008, we did a wonderful show on that, and we showed you exactly that they knew it was going to happen and never warned anybody. Why did they not warn anybody? I keep saying to you all the time, we turn on the news every morning, I do, and I listen to all the geniuses. Everything's wonderful, and then, bam, you wake up, and the next day it's crashing, and you can't get out. What happened to the geniuses? Where do they go? They stay off the air for a while and resurface again, saying, hang on, it's going to come back. Well, what if it doesn't? Who loses then? Do they lose? No, you lose. So the question becomes, how do you adequately balance and protect yourself while you can? And can you remember one secret little message I can give you? This is your money. It's not mine. It's not anybody else's. You don't have to ask people's permission. You need to tell them what to do. You earned your money. You tell people if you're my client, you tell me what you want me to do. That I don't tell you what I want you to do. You tell me what you want me to do. That's exactly what you need to remember. This is your assets.
And in fact, believe it or not, Michael, PBS has even put out something, right? That's very interesting. I don't have time to play the whole thing. It's like 6 minutes, but I want to play a little bit in closing here with you, Michael. PBS, look at this. Watch this, guys.
The 401k is one of the only products that Americans buy, but they don't know the price of it. It's also one of the products that Americans buy that they don't even know its quality. It's one of the products that Americans buy that they don't know its danger. And it's because the industry, the mutual fund industry, have been able to protect themselves against regulation that would expose the danger and price of their products.
At Merrill Lynch. In 1981, nobody knew what a 401k was. By 1989, it's in the lexicon, it's being written about, it's being talked about. Throughout the 90s, now all large employers effectively have plans in place. People are participating. It continues to grow from there.
Start saving $300 a month when you're 23, and you could retire a millionaire.
The boom happened in lockstep with the roaring bull market of the 80s and 90s. Mutual funds were charging high management fees, but nobody seemed to care.
The returns are great, so no one thinks about how much is this costing me when they're earning 15 or 20%.
Star mutual fund managers like Fidelity Magellan's Peter Lynch encouraged all of us to jump in.
You shouldn't be intimidated. Everyone can do well in the stock market. You have the skills, you have the intelligence. It doesn't require any education. All you have to have is patience, do a little research. You've got it.
Saving for retirement seemed as simple as betting on the market.
It was a great time. Employees who participated in these plans and invested in the stock market, couldn't wait to open their monthly statements to see how much the value had gone up, So things seem to be working nicely.
Well, I was invested in everything. Stocks, mutual funds, you name it. We would get monthly reports. Things were growing. Everything was growing. In the 90s, you could not lose money in the market, even if you were a dumb investor. I mean, it just kept growing and growing and growing.
Internet stocks drove a powerful surge on Wall Street today.
Internet stocks suddenly.
The economy was doing great. I mean, you had all kinds of gains in the stock market. That was kind of the dot-com era.
Those internet stocks continue their meteoric rise.
You really didn't have to pay attention to, you got your statements at the end of every quarter and you were making money.
It was exciting because gradually over time, we would have a day where we would make $7,000 or and as much as $30,000 in a day as it built, and even more.
In 1996, we had doubled our money. We had almost 500,000.
Steve Shulo and Dan Robertson believed they were headed for early retirement the day their portfolio topped $1 million. It was November 11th, 1999.
Oh, that was a very nice day that day, wasn't it?
What happened November 11th?
See, it's when our portfolio went over $1 million. So that was just amazing. It was like, well, yeah, this is how investments work. You invested and it grows. I mean, that's how I thought about it.
It was a manic Monday in the financial market.
Stocks plunged. Traders are standing there watching in amazement, and I don't blame them.
But in the spring of 2000, the market collapsed.
The phones say a lot of their customers are freaked out.
We did not know. This is our mistake. We didn't know it was a bubble. We just didn't know. Our portfolio had gone all the way down to where it was in 1996, from 1.5 million to 500,000.
460, I think.
All that was gone.
At the height of the internet bubble, Americans had also stuffed 19% of their retirement money into company stock.
We invest all of our 401k in Enron stock, absolutely. Don't you guys agree?
For savers like Debbie Skaczynski, who worked for ComDisco, a computer leasing company, the fall would be precipitous.
I was close to $500,000 I had in my 401k with company stock.
it was like, wow, look at all the money we have. Look at what is happening. I can retire probably when I'm 45.
The dot-com failures continue to mount.
Skoczynski not only lost her savings, she lost her job.
Cisco today filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
Let's hold it right there.
Including another two.
That's just PBS Frontline. Pretty fascinating. Closing comment.
Well, again, nobody wants to tell you the truth about the downside. They'll always tell you, well, we might lose, and there is a little bit of risk, but this is extremely low risk. They never explain. I could sit down with any person I talk to, and I consider myself somewhat of an educated man after a couple of degrees, although you never know. The reality is, they could explain to me what a mutual fund is. They have no idea. They have absolutely no idea. What they were sold upon is the interest return they were going to get paid, but they were never told. They were told low risk, medium risk, high risk. This is the lowest risk. The problem is when the markets collapse, everybody loses the same thing. So this low risk, medium risk, high risk phenomenon is non-existent at the time of the drop. It's just a great sales pitch. It's the same thing for the people who buy annuities. Some annuities are good, but in many cases, people are not explained that if they buy it and then something happens where, for goodness sakes, they need money, that they don't have direct access to it for possibly 5 years. They signed into this death certificate that they might not be able to have their dollars when they need it. And life deals interesting blows. My goal and our goal here with my team in Swiss America is very simple. We are a life jacket. We are a life preserver. When you fall in the ocean and your dollars and other stuff sink, we're right there holding you up. Because a small amount of gold protects a large amount of your estate. That's why central banks buy it. They don't buy stocks. So my advice to people, you have retirement plans, that's your number one front line. Protect those first, and then make sure that you have something physically in your control that is not paper in today's world. Because if anybody tells me right now, and I'm a little bit older than Brandon, probably a couple thousand years, but the reality is, if anybody tells me that they think this country is the way it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I disagree. I'm done.
Yeah, indeed. Worldviewgold.com. Again, I don't give financial advice. I give financial opinion. My opinion is you should do your own homework, your own due diligence. You have no risk to get a free packet of information. Worldviewgold.com, worldviewgold.com, or 1-877-864-1072 if you'd like to get the free packet over the phone. 1-877-864-1072. And you can talk to Michael Weiner yourself. He'll handle your account, answer all your questions. If you don't want to do business with him, you don't have to. But you can talk to Michael, and he'll help you figure it out, and then go from there. So what do you got to lose? Get the packet, look over it, read over it, write down all your questions, and then call up Michael and say, got the packet, went through it. I have a notepad full of questions. He'll answer your questions, and you can do business with them or not. 1-877-864-1072. But don't think for 1 minute that capital controls, that issues of access aren't real concerns. And again, most Americans do not know about the Depository Trust Corporation. And so tonight, you've got another lesson on that. Michael Weiner, worldviewgold.com, or 1-877-864-1072. I've been working with Michael and the team for 18 years. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I was just 2 years old then. But Dolly, wherever you are, good night. I'll be with you in October, my dear friend.
She's asleep on her pet bed. Thank you, Michael.
Resting. Good night. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after this short break.
No signal, no service, no way to reach the people you love. When disaster strikes, hurricanes, wildfires, grid failures, civil unrest, the first thing to go is communication. Cell towers fail, networks crash, and suddenly you're cut off. Not anymore. Worldview Talk brings you military-grade satellite phones that work anywhere on Earth. Mountaintops, deep wilderness, disaster zones, no cell tower required. When everyone else goes silent, you stay connected. And that's just the beginning. At worldviewtalk.com, you'll find everything you need to protect what matters most. Solar generators, silent, clean power when the grid goes down, bulletproof backpacks, everyday protection for your kids, your commute, your peace of mind. Faraday bags shield your devices from EMPs, hackers, and tracking. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. And in today's world, it's smart. Visit worldviewtalk.com. That's worldviewtalk.com. Don't wait until the lights go out. Worldview Talk. Stay connected, stay protected, stay ready.
Joining me now is Melissa House and Dr. Lana. I haven't had you in the studio in a long time. You've been playing hooky. You've been playing major hooky.
I know. I
All right,
really
well,
have.
We're glad you're back. You're back
Thank you.
by popular demand. And we, of course, are going to be joined by Dr. Lana as well. We have a lot to talk about tonight, guys. I do want to play one little clip. I know you guys probably have an agenda that you want to cover because I know you girls have been talking and things you want to present. But I want to play a quick little video clip, guys, because this is how dangerous things are out there. Look at this little video clip, guys.
Causes birth defects and miscarriages, decrease fertility by 33%. It's a chelator. It grabs onto and makes unavailable the vital nutrients of any living thing it touches. A recent science from Ramazzini study that shows that it causes 10 types of cancer. One of them is leukemia. It causes liver disease and kidney disease at very low levels. I'm talking 4 parts per billion per kilogram of body weight. And we have 1 out of 4 adults and children now in America with some form of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Nervous system, neurological system, endocrine disrupting, causing sperm damage, the androgenization of baby girls. When they got the box of chemo, it said Bayer on it. Bayer, the same name of the company that sold them the agrochemicals to begin with. Even Roundup has in the UK a vinegar version that Bayer makes in the UK that's not toxic. They're not doing that here. If anybody's using glyphosate in America, American farmers are growing junk food. Glyphosate essentially gives a plant AIDS, an autoimmune disease. The normally harmless bacteria in the soil kills the plant because it has an autoimmune disease. And the amount of glyphosate that it takes to do all this is drift level only. We use a lot of glyphosate, 20 million just in our parks and playgrounds, 280 million pounds a year just in our food crops. Cancer is not a choice. Infertility is not a choice, but farming practices are a choice. And so I would like the farmers to consider that more often and now and make a choice that keeps the future generations of our country at mind.
Dr. Lana joins us. Dr. Lana, welcome back.
Hello.
How much truth is in that clip we just heard? Is that true?
Oh,
Have you done the research on glyphosate?
Oh, absolutely. All the years ago I was in school, I mean, they have registered glyphosate in the United States in 1974, and it is linked to irritable bowel syndrome and colitis and birth defects. And as you heard, cancers and bloat. And I am telling you, there's one thing that will detox it, and we can talk about that later. And it's a glutathione swish, but absolutely it's pervasive. They spray glyphosate, my friends, on carrots and soy and quinoa and cotton and, healthy foods. It is pervasive. It's sprayed around the world. It's been used in our nation since the 1970s. It's awful, but there's something, that we can do about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you ladies have been talking.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want to talk about tonight?
Well, mainly all these 3 products can I see the 3 products right here?
Well, we'll just hold them up.
Yeah,
so
why
they
don't you
can.
hold those up?
Of course, we know we do the glutathione and the Numi. We do the Gataton every day, a full scoop in water for dinner every night. Dolly gets half a scoop. And then, Melissa, I'm telling you, Melissa's been doing 7 of these, but I think you're now up to 10 a day of the protein tablets.
You can start with 5, but I've been doing 10 the last couple of days just because I love how the product has made me feel. It's amazing. I've been taking it for about 4 months, and I wanted to wait a little while until I came on.
Okay, I want to stop you right there. You've been taking it for 4 months, but you did not want to come on the air and promote it until you had fully tested it and tried it, which again, folks, is so key, what she just said, because we don't push products to just push products, okay? I've been doing this, as you guys well know, 36 years. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. We're not going to just hawk products, okay? We say no to 99% of the stuff presented to us. And Dr. Lana knows that. She knows stuff that's been offered to us, and we said, no, that's not a fit. That's not something I can validate with science. I got to be able to validate. We got to be able to prove it works. We're not going to just foist products onto our people just to sell products. And so when she said, I've tried it for 4 months before I wanted to come on the air and promote it, I think that's very crucial, Dr. Lana, because we're not just pushing stuff.
I know when Dr. Lana recommends it, that it's going to be
Well,
good
there you go.
too. So,
But she also did the Melissa test. So you've been taking it for
Right.
4 months.
But she's told us about
Yep, she
these
has.
3 products right
Yep.
here, and they are all amazing. I mean, I take all 3 of them daily, and I feel so much better than I did prior to starting these 3 products. And this product, especially the Super Amino 23, has really, really, really helped me. It's a vegan protein, and if you want to kind of fill in, you know, Dr. Lena is so much more knowledgeable about it, but it's really helped me stay full. I've noticed it's tightened my skin incredibly. There's so many reports out there about how we need protein. Everyone needs protein in their diet, and I was searching for the right kind of protein because I don't think the animal protein does not break down like this vegan protein. Is that correct? Is that why I feel so many benefits from this type of protein?
Absolutely. And I want to just jump back to everything your husband said. Brandon, we are all on the same page with, I get sent products and emails, and doctors call me, and patients call me, and colleagues call me and message me, and I use very, very few things. And that's odd for a board certified naturopathic doctor. We're usually taught that we need all these supplements and vitamins and herbs and everything. And God made some, amazing things, of course, but you don't need that many things. I use very few things in my practice. It's all because they're backed by science. I use them myself. My family uses them. I would give them to a child. Okay. And Melissa's spot on with the glutathione, the gadotana, and the super aminos, because here is what Melissa's talking about. This is pre-digested plant-based protein. Your amino acids are your protein building blocks, and you need them for muscle strength in your legs. As we age, you hear your mother, your father, aging people going, oh, they have trouble, getting out of the chair and walking. Then they have a cane, then they have a walker. Then you're calling, assisted living people to come to their home. That is not how we're supposed to age. You need the leucine for muscle strength. There's you can read it. There's only amino acids in here that are pre-digested. They're plant-based, because too much animal protein, as Melissa said, doesn't break down in your system. It's damaging to your kidneys and blood vessels. We can eat meat.
You digest. What is the percentage you digest? With
99%.
That is
in your muscles in 23 minutes.
And I know
Wait a minute, can I stop you right there? Is that why it's called Super Amino 23?
It's in your muscles within 23.
It gets into your muscles within 23 minutes.
Yes. And tightens your skin.
I had no idea why it was called amino acid 23, but now I know.
And you can tell a difference. I mean, within 23 minutes, if you go for a walk, I just notice I have more energy. I have more stamina. My skin, I can tell a big difference in my skin. Just overall, the tightness of my skin, and almost right away, I noticed that it was almost like I had lotion on all the time. My skin just felt softer and more nourished, I would say. And I was not doing anything different other than the super aminos was new. And so that was one of the main things I noticed. And then I've noticed so many other wonderful benefits.
What other?
A lot of tightening of my skin, different areas that I was wanting to tighten up a little bit, and I tried many different things. And
like your stomach.
Really,
you wanted to tighten up your stomach.
My stomach and some areas in the back of my arms. And
this has helped tighten those up.
It's helped incredibly.
And I can verify that because she was staying at the kitchen last week at the kitchen sink. She's wearing a pair of shorts and tennis shoes. And I was still leaning against the counter, and I was looking at her and thought, something's different. And I said, you've lost quite a bit of weight, because her legs look thin, not too thin, but thin, and they look more muscular. And I said,
and I haven't done anything different. That's the thing.
Well,
so
there you go. I said, you look thin, you've lost weight, and you have, right?
Well, these fill you up as well, just because we need protein. We hear all the time in the news how we need protein, and you can verify that. Like, we need as much protein as we can possibly get to stay healthy and for strong muscles and everything.
Absolutely.
So I was
No,
looking for the
absolutely.
best protein, and I think that this has just helped me so much it's helped me feel full as well, combined with some of the these other products that I'm taking. I think that's some of the reason why I look.
Well, then you talk about it helping with leg strength, because she's been hammering me on leg strength and the need to keep walking on my treadmill and all
I've
that.
seen a lot of things in the news recently with increased leg strength and brain health. And I know I've seen many different articles about that. And I have some dementia in my family, so I've been really studying some of that. And
without getting too specific on people, isn't it interesting? Some of the people that are struggling with this, they didn't walk, they didn't move, they didn't exercise, they were too stationary.
Right. Well, I know one person in particular, and she had very weak legs, and now she's suffering with dementia. And I just keep seeing different articles and different, examples of different.
Strong legs are very important because of the amount of blood that comes through your legs to your heart and to your brain.
Right. So if your legs are stronger, you're pumping more blood to your brain and to your heart. Dr. Lana can speak better on that, but there's just so many wonderful health benefits in this. And combined with these other 3 products, I think they all work together so well. The New Me, one thing I really, really love about this product is whenever I feel a little bit like under the weather, I will swish with it every hour. I've done that for the last few months, and I'll swish every hour for 5 to 6 hours. And I'm usually able to knock out even a sinus infection, which I used to get regularly. This has knocked it out for me. So that is just amazing that I know I take it daily, but if I'm feeling run down or feeling like I'm coming down with something, then I swish, like every hour religiously. So I mean, that's an amazing testimony for that product, because normally I would get full on, not feeling well and have to get even on an antibiotic.
And let me go to the detoxing. We started out, talking about what's sprayed on crops, sprayed on food, in the parks, on the golf courses, right? The number of people being tested, and they're finding these chemicals in their body. They're finding these chemicals in the umbilical cord of the babies being born. This is why this, I think, is so important. When we talk about the massive spike in cancer, I'm not making claims.
All the things they're putting in food.
But I want to detox my cells. And there's been 165,000 studies on glutathione to detox our cells, plus removing the mercury and the lead from our brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. I don't want cancer. And I do not want Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or dementia. I don't want those. You and I watched a little documentary the other night over the 4th of July holiday on Michael J. Fox. And he's done a documentary on his own life. And now he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's, I think, since 1991, was it? Early 90s. So he's had it a long time. But just to watch this documentary on what he confronts with his daily life and the stamina that he's trying to keep going with, you don't want this, but then when you watch a documentary on it, it's like, no. And I want to make sure, and I started studying Parkinson's a little bit, if we watch that, and some of it's genetics, but some of it sounds like it can be triggers. Things can trigger it.
I think lifestyle choices too.
Lifestyle choices, right? But I don't want to, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do tobacco, I don't do any of that. But I think some of these things, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, could maybe be triggers. Other environmental things could maybe be triggers. And whatever is in the environment, I want to knock it out. I want to flush it out.
There's so many things in the environment now that are making people sick that we really have to counteract it with different types of, products like this.
Right.
It's so many people take so many vitamins and different things, and they really, if they would take these 3 products, I feel like they would feel amazing. Because I know I feel amazing.
And I want to add the 4th one in there. I want to add the 4th one.
We haven't talked about the Gatatana.
We want to add the 4th one, which is my Bella Grace.
Right. And the Gatatana as well. I know if I have a day where I can't eat as healthy as I would like to, I feel so good being able to take a scoop of this, and it gives me energy right away. I know it helps with muscle recovery as well as a super amino. I just think they all work together so well. To just build your body, build your immune system, build your muscles, build your strength in your legs, build your brain health. They have so many amazing benefits.
Okay, so you've heard our take on this. Is her research that she feeds to me all accurate? I know it is.
Absolutely. I'll start with the super aminos. And let me tell you, no one else is doing this. And you can't get this anywhere else. I mean, we are here, every week just about for you, because very few people know about all three of these products. And I'm telling you, and the elixir is amazing as well. We need protein, but here's the problem, my friends. You can't eat too much meat or take too many eggs because your kidneys can't break it down.
So you're not absorbing about all that animal protein.
About 3 to 4 animal protein meals a week. That's what God,
so are you saying that
made
Americans,
our body to break down?
Are Americans eating too much meat?
Well, it's hard on their liver and kidneys, right? And they're not able to absorb
absolutely, we are. And this is not, me by now, this is not my opinion. This is based on gold standard science, double-blind, peer-reviewed, placebo-controlled science. I mean, I was trained, with Dr. Campbell, who did the largest nutritional study on human beings in the history of mankind, and proved it that we need to eat more plants, less animals, and that breaks down to about 4 animal protein meals a week. But you need protein for muscle strength, for hormones, to lower your appetite, make
also
you feel
your blood
full,
sugar.
to tighten
Doesn't it
your
help
skin,
with blood sugar?
balances your blood sugar. Absolutely. And so this is brilliant because these are tablets. You can crush them, put them in not a big smoothie, but a smaller one if you have children. I have patients who crush 5 of them before their kids go to school, before their kids go to tennis team and football and basketball.
I know when I take
soccer.
a walk, if I take my aminos right before I take a walk,
right,
I'm so much more energized, and I just feel better, and I'm able to walk longer, and I have more energy.
Exactly. 5 of these are about 15 grams of protein. I take 10 a day. That's 30 grams of protein that my body has used 99%
you're actually
of it.
absorbing the 30 grams.
You're absolutely absorbing, which you do not absorb if you're all still drinking, milk and eating dairy. I hope you're not. But your body, you think, I'm just going to have a glass of milk. Your body only absorbs on average about 30 to 40% of that, if that. And it has a lot of other side effects. Here, you're absorbing and using 99% of it. It's not damaging your blood vessels, not damaging your kidneys. It's not full of fat. It actually burns fat and tightens your skin and strengthens your muscles.
I noticed a difference within a week or so. Especially with my skin. My skin was the first thing. Where I just noticed it was tighter. And like I said, it was like so much more moisturized, almost like I just put lotion on all the time.
What is that?
Exactly.
What is that crepey thing that as you get older, women get on their chest? What's that called?
Women can't stand that crepey skin.
But tell me you're
well, just wrinkle, just
you were commenting on that the other day.
Wrinkly.
Because the skin on your neck and chest right there was just so much tighter.
Smooth.
That is one area I've really noticed is my chest area, which I've been in the sun some, as a teenager and everything. And it has tightened up. And it has to be the super aminos because.
Absolutely.
And again, but I want to go back to the fact that I know you guys keep saying 3.
I know.
I'm going to add in my 4th, my collagen, my Bella Grace. How these 4 actually all work together.
Well, we need the collagen to help with all the other products as well, right? Because they
aren't some of these products helping the delivery mechanism of the other products?
Right.
Well, yes, I'm going to move through each one so quickly. So absolutely, you heard that. This is protein, my friends. It's safe, bioavailable protein. Your entire family can take 5 to 10 tablets a day. Crush them if you want to. I just swallow them down with water. Your entire family can take them. The Gatatana is God's nutrition. Nothing is in this but what God made. Every single family member, I don't care if you have little toddlers, can take a scoop a day. You can hide it in something cold or a non-dairy yogurt or pudding or something. Don't put it in a huge glass of water. Put it in a little bit and just get it down. I take 2 scoops a day, every day. Most people take 1. If you're not feeling well, take 4. If you're really not feeling well, you take 10 a day. This is bioavailable, pure nutrition made by God. Most of the food that we eat is not getting inside of our cells because we have impaired gut microbiome from the glyphosate and living, honestly, in a Western affluent nation. We love America, but our guts are impaired. Glyphosate's absolutely one of the many, many toxic issues. This is God's nutrition. A scoop of this for everybody in your family every single day. And the last thing is the glutathione. My friends, this is air in a bottle. This is oxygen in a bottle. You can't breathe without glutathione. Glutathione detoxes every heavy metal, toxin, contaminant, glyphosate. It is the glutathione molecule is made by God. Numi shrunk it down and wrapped it in pure water. Everybody in your family.
Doesn't the glutathione in our system decrease? So we need
I was just going to say that,
Right.
Melissa. That's why we can just talk for hours. Her and I are a great team and great friends. Glutathione, okay, you start losing it. It does 400 functions. It performs 400 functions in your body, okay? One of them is breathing, okay? It connects oxygen and hemoglobin. You die without, if all the glutathione leaves your body, you are in heaven with Jesus, honestly. You start losing glutathione about age 20. Your glutathione stores are depleting. I don't care if you live a perfect life and you eat organic food and your life is pristine and you've never been around glyphosate or a toxin or a chemical in your entire life. By the time you hit 20, your glutathione stores are lowering. You're born with a ton and you die with none. So think of this as you're in a room and the oxygen is being sucked out. This is oxygen being entered back in the room so you can breathe again. Are you going to say, that's okay, don't hook up more oxygen in the room? I know the oxygen's leaving this room, but hey, when it's all gone, I'm just going to expire and, go meet God. Nobody's going to say that on earth. We're put on here by God for a purpose to give an experience and help. And we're providing knowledge here. I know, and Brandon knows this better than I do, but I know in Matthew 25, it says, God says, with knowledge, I mean, share your gifts, share your knowledge. He gets upset with us if we don't share our knowledge. And these three things and the Bella Grace, because the Bella Grace, what I love about that, besides the highest quality collagen in the world, is that Bella Grace has astaxanthin, which enters your blood-brain barrier, goes into your brain. Astaxanthin is an antioxidant, my friends. It goes into your brain.
With the super aminos, doesn't the collagen, if you're taking a collagen product, doesn't the super aminos help support that and help it get more into your system?
So you're saying that if you take the Bella Grace with this, they're going to work better together?
Right. Exactly. And then then you've got your nutrition that's getting in your cells, because all of our food isn't. And then you're detoxing your body and you're giving your body air, so to speak, with the glutathione. To me, in my opinion, and my entire family takes this. And if I'm old now, but if I had a toddler and if I had a child, going to kindergarten or whatever, let me tell you something. I can tell you as a mom, and my own child, but she's an adult now, she takes it all. We take it all. I would give it to my toddler as a mom. This is non-negotiable. I would say don't waste money. I'm saying this in general, everyone, if I'm not your doctor, but don't waste money on all these multivitamins. They're not bioavailable. They're very difficult to break down in your body.
They flush through your system, a lot of them, right?
Don't
like
take fish oil pills. Same thing. Fish oil pills are not bioavailable. 98% of them aren't even, Dr. Eston at the Cleveland Clinic, they're not even bioavailable. And he would say, do you see fish eating fish oil pills?
So does that mean like your body's not absorbing them, a lot of the vitamins you take as well?
Exactly. Right. And your omega-3s from the fish oil pills are right here in the Gatatana in the exact amount. There's protein. Gatatana has trace minerals, omega-3, omega-6, trace vitamins. Everything is in here. And then this is, I call magical protein. This is protein without eating a steak or making a shake. I tell my patients.
And it fills you up. So,
and it fills you up, lowers your appetite.
Talk to us about these products for the largest demographic of my broadcast is women 55 and older. Speak to them.
Absolutely. And I am one of you beautiful ladies out there. I am 55 and older for sure. And let me share with you, as we age, even though we try, we walk, we're drinking our water, we're trying to stay lean, we do everything we possibly can. That video, and you know this, Brandon and I didn't even plan that. That video that he played in the beginning is brilliant because things like glyphosate and stress in daily life, we're women. We take care of everybody, right? We're taking care of our spouses, our adult children, our young children, grandchildren. A lot of us have careers.
Parents,
we are
maybe
juggling it
parents.
all. Aging parents, that stress on our bodies it's non-negotiable. We cannot fight it. And you add toxins and glyphosate on to just daily stress. Sometimes it's good stress. You might be planning a child's wedding, or maybe you have a grandchild, coming into the world, and you might have good stress. Maybe you're traveling a lot to see some of your adult children and taking care of your mom or your dad who is aging and needs extra care. That is very, very stressful on your autonomic nervous system. You've got to have nutrients, which is your gadotana. You've got to keep flushing out the toxins, which is your glutathione. You've got to have astaxanthin helping get inside your brain to remove toxins and provide antioxidants in your brain. And you've got to have protein, but not all the eggs and not all the meat all the time. And there's toxins in our fish and seafood. These products, your Bella Grace, your glutathione, your super aminos, and your gadotana are absolutely powerful and so important for you ladies over 50, over 55, because you have things going on in your life that, as smart as you are and savvy and faithful as you are, you can't control it. And these things will help support your brain and your body. Amen.
I feel so much better since I started these 3 products. I can attest to that, to everything she said.
People don't, right? They're kind of surprised. I don't mind sharing. I mean, I'm 61 and I don't
think I knew that.
You definitely do not look 61.
I am 61.
People are amazed all the time. They probably ask.
I mean, make no mistake. Everything's completely natural. Obviously, I'm
Right.
not a doctor. I would never had anything done, but I'm sure there's like the wrinkles coming in, but
no,
people are.
Do people ask?
Most
They
people
have
don't
to
think I'm
ask you
61.
a lot what you do, right? To stay so young.
Yeah. They do. And I'm lean. I have energy.
I
Thank
have a
God
lot
I'm
more
on no
energy.
medication.
I mean, you can attest to that, right?
Yes, she does.
I wake up at 5:30 every morning, and
Me too.
I don't
She
really
does.
sit down.
She does.
Between 5:30 and 6 sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, these amino acids, one of the things we've learned is the importance for things to stay fresh and not to sit in a bottle till they become not as effective or potent.
Exactly.
So tell me about that.
So you want to move through these. We have bottles of everything at our house, and they do have all of these have more than a year shelf life, of
This
course.
one says May 2028.
But exactly, because they are pre-digested, they are compressed, and there's nothing perishable in them. They are non-soy vegetables, non-soy legumes that are pre-digested. So they do last, absolutely. But I will tell you, make it a part of your daily routine.
I don't ever miss them. I don't ever miss taking them.
She'll be in the car.
You're going to start taking them.
Yeah, she's going to start taking them, and I will. I always let her try it first. I don't know why. It's just because that's the
So
way
if
she
I have
is.
a bad side effect.
Yeah, she does it, but she's the one that.
No, she does the research.
Well, she does the
She has
research. She
time.
tries it first, but I know if it is fine for her, it's going to be fine for me because she has allergies.
I'm pretty sensitive.
She has to be very careful. If she gets the wrong lettuce, her lips go numb.
I can't have wheat at all.
She
and
can't
I
have
think
any
it's
wheat.
glyphosate.
She's more than got gluten allergy. She's more celiac. Okay. She also has been diagnosed by her doctor related to other things, related to mold, dust.
I have a lot of allergies.
She has a lot of allergies. Her doctor has prescribed her in the last year an EpiPen, right? Because she has to be very careful about her reaction and her throat not closing, right? So if she
Even things like ashwagandha and things like that, I cannot take. I get horrible headaches right away. I mean, I'm just really, I can't take.
Well, you get the wrong lettuce and your lips go numb.
Yeah, pain medication. I don't know one really other than Advil, which I try not to ever take, but stronger pain medication makes me really sick. I have bad reactions. So, and all these products, that just shows how wonderful they are.
Because if
how
she can
pure.
take it,
Because,
then there's not a problem.
Yeah, they're
and I'm not using you as a guinea pig. You choose to do this. You know, she's the one that goes and does the homework, gets on it, tries it, and then
I tried something.
You know, she was doing Bella Grace and had to force me to take it. Now I don't miss it, right?
Well,
because I know what it's done for me.
Something that someone sent with some mushrooms in it, and it made me me sick right away. So I mean, I just have to be really careful.
And you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of things. And as a naturopathic doctor saying that, because honestly, you know me, I am an open book. I'm transparent and authentic. We are taught. That's why I spent 6 years in diet and lifestyle medicine intervention school to learn about food and how that can help us as well. We don't need all these supplements. We need a few things, and you don't need and make no mistake, I use herbs and everything and cooking. It's fabulous, but you don't want to go down the reductionistic highway. And what I mean by that, sometimes we'll read, oh my gosh, well, cinnamon helps, balance blood sugar, or we need hawthorn berry for our cardiac care.
Read so many
all
different
that's
things
great,
that it's so hard.
But you're not going to take one herb and it's going to be that silver bullet for this condition. You get to the root of the problem, which is detoxing your body safely, naturally, not with all these crazy cleanses, or you're going to make this fruit juice and vegetable juice and juice that takes you 25 minutes every day to do. Just swish with this plastic cap, 2 teaspoons of this 2-3 times a day. Nothing like glutathione can detoxify your body, and it's air in the bottle. The same thing with the Gatatana. All these other, I'm going to take all these shakes and put all these scoops of all these, mushrooms and food and everything. Eat whole food. That's absolutely amazing. But God made the microcrops Gatatana. It's dried in a tiny scoop for us. This is a miracle that we know about it. This is the most overlooked piece of nutrition for overall health, I think, in the history of the world. This phytoplankton provides 70 to 90% of the oxygen on the planet, and you're getting it in your body. It feeds the entire oceanic ecosystem. It's the base of the food chain, and we are blessed to know about it. And the Bella Grace with the collagen and the astaxanthin and the super aminos, this is your secret protein. I mean, this to me is, I said to Melissa, this is not a scientific word, but this is magical because it's protein.
It is for me as well. Like Brandon said, I take it in the car if we're taking a trip.
Yeah, she'll have a car with a handful of pills. Like, what are you taking? This is when she first started taking all these. I'm like, what is this?
Even now, I don't go.
When we first started taking, I didn't realize what you were doing. Like, what is this handful of pills you're taking? It was her protein. So she's very serious about it
because it's made me feel so much better that I just
amen.
I take it religiously.
Check your vitamin D and B12 and like, that's it. We don't need this cupboard full of spending all this money on all of these.
Which a lot of it is aged out by the time you get it anyway.
And it's just flushing right through you, most of it, right? It's not really even.
All right. So worldviewtube.com/sponsors. What were you going to say?
No, the last point I was trying to share really quick is most people don't know that you need to leach minerals from your bones and teeth to break down most vitamins. That is not the case with these right here.
Wow.
One last thing. It's all available at worldviewtube.com/sponsors.
You can get on a subscription.
You can get on subscription. And we're on a subscription for Numi, Gatatana, Bella Grace. That's all subscription. I don't know about this. Are we on subscription?
Yes, I'm on subscription for that.
Okay. So we're on subscription for all 4 of these.
And you can cancel at any time.
And I'm doing 3 of the 4, but I'm about to start doing the amino acids because one of the things I noticed it helps is regulates blood sugar. Now,
I'm going to have an issue with that.
Go ahead, tell him.
He gets real jittery if he hasn't, if he hasn't eaten something. And
These two.
Not even, sometimes when you haven't eaten, I don't know how long it's been, but, or if you get too much sugar, too much coffee.
I likely have
hypoglycemia is what we're thinking.
I've had that since I was a kid, but I wore a glucose monitor for about 2 months, and I had an app on my phone, and man alive.
His blood sugar would dip and then go up, depending on what he was eating.
And anyone that has that knows how horrible you end up feeling, right?
It is.
And sometimes it can take me 30 minutes to an hour to get back. You know, I have to eat the right things to get the blood sugar regulated, but it can take me an hour to get where I'm feeling good again, right?
Absolutely.
And when you get that feeling, it's a horrible feeling. You feel nauseous. You can feel dizzy.
You get real
feel
weak.
very
Dizzy,
weak,
the brain fog,
flushed,
shaky.
You're shaky, and you just don't feel good at all. So if you're out doing something or you're on the air, that's really not what you want to do. You get the feeling like, I need to go lay down, but I know what it is, and I have to go eat the right things to bring that back up. So when she said that this helps regulate my blood sugar, that really caught my attention. So the amino acids help regulate your blood sugar, huh?
Amino acids and GATA-TANA for all of you that have blood sugar issues. And those of you, it's not a diet pill or these aren't diet products. All of you trying to lose weight, here's your appetite control. GATA-TANA super aminos, and the super aminos are amazing for blood sugar. And the GATA-TANA, they work together because here's your protein and here's your nutrition.
I know when I take a super amino.
Blood sugar and appetite.
So
when I was taking 7 and I wasn't hungry I kind of have to almost force myself to eat after a couple hours because I think I need to eat something, but they fill you up.
So cut out, which I've done. I don't drink Coca-Cola, Sprites.
Right.
Every now and then, maybe once a month, I'll have a Sprite, but I cut out, we don't buy Sprite anymore. So I've cut out all the sugar. I don't take a bunch of sugar in my coffee. So I've cut out the sugars, cut out all the candy, cut out that kind of stuff, folks, is what I'm saying. If you will cut out the garbage you shouldn't be eating, and you do this, you're going to start losing weight and getting in shape. But you're also going to feel better, but you're also not going to have a craving for this. It's amazing. We've mentioned it before. When we started taking this, I didn't have the craving for potato chips and snack foods and different things. This really cut the craving for any kind of snacky foods like that. And then you do this, which I haven't done yet. This also is going to cut out that. So you're not going to be miserable because you're not going to have the craving for those things anymore.
And you feel full, so you don't really want,
So you can't help but start to lose weight, gain muscle, get into shape, and feel better because you're cutting out the junk. You don't have the craving for it. It's almost some of this junk food. It's almost like crack. I mean, they must put stuff in there that causes you to crave that junk food.
Oh, it's your brain.
Everything.
It hits
all that.
It's a dopamine hit. It's happy.
Yeah.
Fried foods do that. Wine and candy and chocolate and sugar and fried foods, do that. It's that hit of dopamine. This is fueling the good bacteria in your gut. It's balancing your blood sugar. It's getting protein into your muscles. It's fueling your cells with nutrition.
You get that same feeling.
And what's weight loss? What is weight loss? The key, the secret. What is it? Control your appetite. If we could all control our appetite, we're like, you know what? I'm really not that hungry. That's the key to weight loss. That's what all these GLP-1 medications are doing. They're making people feel full. They don't want to eat. Here's your natural appetite control in a very healthy, good way.
It definitely
works. In a healthy, good way.
And the reality is Americans, is what I'm hearing you say, Americans take in way too many calories, right? We have the people come over here for what is it called? FIFA soccer game.
The Federation, the International Football.
And they're shocked
because of everything in the food is making them more hungry.
But they're shocked at the size of our portions. They're like, the size of your portions over here are crazy, And then they were shocked at how much there's a drive-through for everything. So they were shocked at our diet, how big the portions were, how much food's available whenever, wherever. It's so accessible. So even the Europeans and folks coming over from other parts of the world were like, whoa, they were kind of liking it. But Americans, I'm assuming here from what you're saying, we are taking in way too many calories in a day. Is that right?
Absolutely. We are sick from overnutrition. Most chronic degenerative diseases, my friends, including a lot of cancers, a lot of blood disorders, a lot of diabetic, disorders, metabolic syndrome, goes back to, and this may sound odd, it goes back to malnutrition. We aren't getting the whole foods into our cells. We are malnourished because of overnutrition. Think about that for a minute. We're malnourished from overnutrition. Because let me tell you something, if I could live on, French fries and all this junk food and we love it because of the dopamine hit. We all would do that. But this is a way, when you have an issue from malnutrition, that's why out of 10 as your answer in most chronic degenerative diseases are an issue of malnutrition. We are eating way too many calories that are not fueling our cells. They're empty calories of junk food and sugar and processed food. And the whole key to weight loss and producing more energy and keeping your weight down and your energy up and your muscles strong is making sure you have true, real, whole food nutrition in your cells, protein that doesn't damage your blood vessels and kidneys, and getting the elixir and the glutathione in there to detox your body and provide.
And if you can, get off the gluten. Get off the stinking gluten. Because not only what's sprayed on that crop, but
I think gluten is the highest.
It's
glyphosate.
Yeah, and it's so inflammatory. It's so inflammatory.
Very inflammatory.
So if you want to get rid of a puffy face or the gluten belly, get off gluten. And those of you who you're thinking right now, I can't do without my fried chicken and all that stuff. Okay, she will tell you, I love fried chicken. But I can't tell you when I last had it. And when you do get off of that stuff and you are taking in good things, it's crazy.
You don't really crave it.
The cravings go away.
Right.
Once you get away from that, I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. If there are Doritos in that cabinet, I need those Doritos. I don't feel that way anymore. I couldn't tell you when I last had Doritos.
Yeah.
We stopped buying that kind of stuff. We don't put it in the cupboard. It's not there, and you don't crave it, right? So if you can stop buying that stuff, not be around it, get good nutrition. But I can't believe that I haven't had fried chicken, because she'll tell you how crazy I am about fried chicken, right? But if you don't eat it for a while and you have good nutrition, you won't want it. So get rid of the gluten. You can do it. So those of you who think you can't do it, look, if I can do it, because she knows what my diet was like for years with, like I said, fried chicken, fried, food that's fried. And down here in the South, everything's fried, right? But we eat accordingly, and I don't miss it. And I'm telling you, I look at some of these older videos of how
you can do almond flour.
chunky I
I don't know what flour you
was.
recommend, but
And I lost a lot of that chunkiness from getting rid of the gluten.
Yes, every now and then make something with gluten-free flour, almond flour, all of that's fine.
I mean, you can do some of that to supplement.
Absolutely.
Right.
And when you can have more good gut bacteria than bad, and this helps with that tremendously, because plants and greens feed your good gut bacteria. So if you have more good gut bacteria than bad, when you're getting protein, pre-digested, clean protein in your muscles, and you're detoxing your body, and you have the elixir to get that collagen and astaxanthin in there, you will not have those cravings, because you've controlled your gut bacteria, you've balanced your gut bacteria and controlled your blood sugar. That's the best way to say it. You've balanced your gut bacteria and you've controlled your blood sugar, and that controls your appetite, my friends. And you will honestly want, salads and fruit and vegetables more than you want chocolate chips. I used to keep,
so how long do you think
plant-based
people
chocolate
need
chips
to get
around
on these products to feel? What would you recommend?
Great question. Great question. Now, listen, they all have, and I pay what you do, for these. They all have a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Right.
So for some reason, I don't know why anybody would think this, but that's fine. If you're like, oh, I have this and, I hate it. And within 30 days, you can get all your money back. This is like empty jar guarantee. So within 30 days, you're like, you know what? Change my mind, hate it all. I don't think you will, but there's no risk for 30 days. No risk. Honestly.
How long do you think people should give?
4 months,
that's what I was going to ask
because take it faithfully, take them all faithfully.
And that's what I did with
invest
aminos.
in
It's
this
been 4
now.
months just so I could
4
really,
months. Because you make new red
and now
blood cells
I
every
don't
4
want to
months.
be without
Oh,
it.
wait a minute. You make new red blood cells every 4 months?
I tell my patients, listen, do something faithfully for 16 weeks, for 4 months, because your body will make new red blood cells in 4 months. And now you've given your body a chance to regroup and rejuvenate. That's a great deal, my friends. If you're 40 years old or 50 years old or over 60, like I am, if you just will give yourself 4 months after decades of probably eating, too much American food, give yourself 4 months of being faithful with this power pack that we have. And don't waste your money on the extra junk food and everything. And don't waste your money on the multivitamins. And
they can stop.
You save. That's
Right.
I pay just what you do for this. I'm on subscription, so I get it at wholesale.
And you can stop at
And
any time.
give yourself
I know
4
I get
months.
emails every month from
No risk.
Aminos. They're really good. They're all good, but they send me an email every month. Your product's about to ship, and you have they give you an option there to cancel,
Right.
and so it's
So
not
you
hard.
save money on the junk and all the other vitamins and stuff. That's the money that you save, because if you don't invest a little money now in your health, you're going to spend your whole retirement on your health.
I think it's a very good point. You're going to not only not enjoy your retirement because you won't be able to do anything and move around, feel good enough to do it, but whatever money that you
saved,
you are going to be spending it on health care, home care, people coming into your house to do things for you because you can't do them yourself. And then you're going to have a spouse. And I've seen it. You've seen it. We've seen it with people we know. We've seen it with people that we casually know. One spouse is sitting by the bedside of another spouse for a few years, staring at the wall, bored out of their mind because their spouse can't even get out of bed, and they're being faithful to their spouse. They're keeping their vow in sickness and in health, but their spouse maybe didn't take care of themselves, didn't eat right, didn't exercise, didn't move. And the spouse that did is the one who's now sitting in a chair trying to be there in comfort and oftentimes sitting alone because that spouse is now sleeping more than anything else. We know a gentleman here in town. He did that. He's faithfully cared for his wife here in town, and she had a hospital bed in their house, and he cared for her to the very end. She passed away, and then he passed away 4 months later.
Absolutely. It's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how we're
But he
supposed to
spent
be.
the last few years of his life sitting next to her.
I mean,
in a
everyone
hospital
wants
bed.
to feel good, so that's
But think about it for your spouse, though. If not only for yourself, think about it for your spouse. I don't want to be the spouse that she's sitting there saying, why did he not 20 years ago do those things? Because now look at him, he's miserable, but I don't want to make her miserable. I don't want her life, the last few years of her life, to be having to care for me because I wasn't disciplined.
And it's expensive. Spend that money not on health care. Go to the beach with your grandchildren and take trips and make memories. I mean, we are not supposed to age this way. I can tell you both, it's such a pleasure and honor to be on your show these years. And this is probably one of the most important shows we've ever done. And Melissa and I have become, lovely friends. And she is so intelligent and so on the ball. And I'm not just saying that because she's your wife. I love her as a friend, but she is not only beautiful, she is one great lady.
She is very smart.
Intelligent,
she has a degree.
Very smart. She's got a degree in this. And
she got a degree in medical social work, medical sciences.
Yes.
And I'll tell you,
she knows her stuff.
There are so many things where I've had problems. She figures it out. I don't have to go to the doctor.
I like to research health related.
Almost every one of her
remedies versus
a lot of my problems she has been able to fix.
Right.
One of the most recent ones is the dizzy feeling dizzy, not having as much stamina as I should. You know what she figured out? I was dehydrated. I've been dehydrated for months.
Water. I was going to say
but
that.
It wasn't water. I wasn't getting what I needed.
I wouldn't promote the one.
Yeah, well, I take one. We won't promote it, but I was not getting enough electrolytes.
Right.
Right.
And he was drinking coffee all day and then drinking Sprite. And I've been telling him.
But even when I got off the Sprite, I was still doing the coffee.
Yeah, but you just weren't getting enough water.
I wasn't getting enough water.
You weren't getting enough
But
water.
she got me on something with a ton of electrolytes. And so she can normally figure out
the Gatatana.
my problems. She can normally figure out and fix my problems.
Well, I just know so much of it is what we
take in or don't take in.
Yeah, or don't take in. And you also need to walk. You need to stay active the older you get.
Right, right.
Or,
74%.
Right.
All right.
Go
so
ahead,
the power of the four. The power of the four right here. Okay.
And 74% of adults in America are dehydrated.
How many?
You wake up, 74% of adults are dehydrated because they don't drink enough plain water. Plain water, no lemons, no limes. We wake up at an 8 to 10 cup deficit. So you need to start drinking your plain good water right when you wake up in the morning.
Well, there you go.
Glutathione and the aminos, swish with your glutathione and take your elixir. It's just these few things.
Yep.
And drink your water and move. We're here to help.
There you go. The power of the four. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Look, guys, we think these are great ways to promote your health. I'm not giving medical advice. I can do the old disclaimer. These products have not been approved by the FDA. Now it's in to treat, cure, prevent any disease. But I will tell you, after we've done our homework and after we've taken them, okay, I'm not taking these yet. I'm doing the other three, but I'm going to get started on this tonight or tomorrow. But I can tell you, these three we have done. We've done these three, and I know the science behind it. She has now done this for 4 months, hasn't talked about it till tonight's broadcast because she wanted to make sure it worked, because we're not going to push things on you guys that we don't take ourselves or that we don't know for sure work. So these 4 things, we know. She knows all 4 of them. I know 3 of the 4 work, and I'll be starting the 4th one tomorrow. So there you go. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Great ways, I think, to support your health and us at the same time. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Dr. Lana's website is inspiredbywellness.com, right?
Yes, Inspired by Wellness. We are here to help. And I feel truly blessed by God that I know about these 4 products. Really, seriously. And I've had hundreds come across my desk over the years.
You've introduced these products to us because they've definitely helped us. Thank you.
Yep, indeed they have. All right, there you go. Thank you, Dr. Lana.
Thank you.
My pleasure. God bless.
You too. Thank you, hon, for all the notes and the study and the work and the research and for coming back on the air.
Of course. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
We'll do it more often.
Yeah, we need to do this more often. Absolutely. Thank you to Dr. Lana. Thank you to Melissa. And guys, thank you to you for supporting what we're doing here. And I think supporting your health at the same time. So everybody's winning. All right, we'll be right back after this short break.
Introducing Worldview Tube Vault. Over 35 years of radio broadcasts, television programs, documentaries, and ebooks. Plus, Worldviewpedia, our powerful search engine for instant worldview and Bible research. Join for as little as $7.99 a month. And now, Vault members get something brand new, courses. Our very first course is here, the Book of Revelation with Brannon House. 53 in-depth lessons, complete with overview quizzes, walking you verse by verse through one of the most important books in Scripture. Getting started is simple. Go to worldviewtube.com/vault and join today. Already a member? Visit worldviewtube.com, click the person icon in the top right, and log in. Then hover over Vault in the menu and select Courses. That's it. You're in. Join WorldviewTube Vault today at worldviewtube.com/vault.
All right, guys, I do hope before we go tonight, you will go on over there to worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. Look at this. Revelation Commentary 3-book set, 2,100 pages, 2,100 pages. It's hardcover. Let me tell you something. I could have gone cheap. I could have gone paperback. But I said, no, I want a library that people will be pleased to put out in their desk or living room or coffee table and your bookshelves in your office or living room. And there it is. So please go there now, worldviewstore.com, put in your order. We're right on schedule. Here, as I showed you beginning tonight, Revelation Commentary Volume 1. Volume 1 is done, laid out. Volume 2 should be done by when, Logan? Volume 2 should be laid out by when?
Tomorrow.
By tomorrow. And then Volume 3 before the week is over. So the printer's getting these, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. We're right on schedule, folks, to have these out and ready and available to ship to you this fall. So please get your order in. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. And then after that, we're going to have my book on Christian Zionism, why I'm a Christian Zionist, biblically refuting the false teaching of Calvinism, and so many other of those books are going to come out, and they're all going to look like this. They'll all look like the Revelation commentary, the same brown, the same gold stamping. So it'll be like adding in a biblical, well, it won't be like, it will be. You'll be building a biblical worldview library that looks so classy. And I'm excited about it. I hope you are as well. Worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. All right, guys, thanks for being with us tonight. Till next time at Brannon House, may God save America. Take care. Tonight on the Worldview Report, Iran's IRGC fires at least 2 missiles at commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, striking and damaging both ships. On the same day that Iran's foreign minister shares photos of the slain Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's funeral. President Trump, he sits down with Erdogan, head of the NATO summit, and publicly says the United States would consider selling Turkey F-35 stealth fighters, calling Turkey more loyal than other countries. A new Washington Free Beacon poll of likely Republican primary voters finds that 64% hold favorable views of Israel, and 73% are more likely to vote for pro-Israel candidates. And in tonight's commentary, let's talk about your retirement statement. It may show a reassuring number, but let me walk you through the multiple layers standing between you and your money during a crisis. From the depository trust company Seed & Company, holding shares as a registered owner, to derivatives exposure, cyber threats, and capital controls. All that and more as the Worldview Report begins right now.
This is Worldview Report with host Brennan House. Whether it is news from the nation's capital or your state capital, from the classroom to the boardroom, from national security to national and local news that impacts you and your family, Worldview Report is your trusted source for vital and uncensored news. And now, here is Brennan House.
Good evening and welcome to the Worldview Report. I'm Brandon House. We begin tonight with a breaking development. It's out of the Strait of Hormuz, and it's reported by the Jewish News Syndicate. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they have fired at least 2 missiles at commercial vessels that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. That happened early Tuesday morning. That's according to 2 senior U.S. officials. They told this to Axios. Both ships, they suffered significant damage, though no casualties, thankfully, were reported. UK Maritime Trade Operations, they confirmed one of the incidents, reporting that a tanker reported being hit by an unknown projectile on the port side, causing a fire while traveling southbound. Vessels, they are being advised to transit with caution and to report any suspicious activity. The attacks, they come after a week-long agreement between Iran and the United States, under which Tehran had committed to temporarily halt attacks in and around the strategic shipping lane, and that had expired. Iran's foreign minister, they warned on Tuesday that Tehran would not begin negotiations on a final agreement if threats continue, citing paragraph 13 of the Memorandum of Understanding. He shared photos of what Iran's state media is calling the slain Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's funeral, underscoring, indeed, how the internal Iranian political situation and the state of negotiation